map, but he would kind of take responsibility for this. And Cougar, we don't want to kind of fuel on the fire that's already burning pretty badly for them. And it's just sad.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we talked about yesterday how every single team that has faced against Navi and Fnatic back-to-back both count those as losses. For Heretics, their role yesterday was to do as much as they could, and I think that on the third map they completely ran out of fuel. Probably Zeke was putting that tweet because the numbers that we could see on different websites for Kellogg's were not the best. We could see that round to round it was not his fault, it was more like a mental thing. In fact, their coach Neil had an interview with the Spanish broadcast, and he said that they acknowledged that the fact that the problem that they have is completely mental. They can even like lose a couple of pistols and think that they cannot work it out.
And I think it's particularly interesting because I think everyone basically forgot how he played on the first two maps. You know, he was. One thing that Navi does is they're doing slight kind of changes to the comps that are either not working or adapting it to what they want their opponent to do.
Do you feel hypnotized watching this? This is Angel brain. This is Angel brain.
This is Angel yesterday on the video that we saw completely. This is Angel at night.
Oh, it's still going.
But hey, you know, it takes a lot of courage and also the mentality to work into all of these different compositions and changing things week to week, which is what we expect from teams. Again, they go the extra mile and be like, okay, you know, after the first map, we get a good result. Let's keep trying things. Let's just, you know, experiment to see what we have out there. I like it.
I love it because it makes him also somewhat unpredictable. This is what Navi has thrived last year from time to time, whilst their best counterpart does nothing else and just play the same comps. I think this is making EMEA particularly exciting because the best two teams, they choose something totally different.
We should do like a prediction. I know everyone loves like predictions, tier lists, all that stuff. We should genuinely do a prediction of a Navi comp and see if they somehow come up with that. Maybe a segment for tomorrow. Maybe next week. I'm just workshopping it. What do you guys think?
I want like Gecko, Sky, and then Neon. Yeah.
Okay, you're doing that already. But while you guys do that, let's do something fun. I got something really fun for you. And for you guys at home as well. Now, as you guys know, it could be.
Oh.
But as you guys know, we have a lot of prominent figures in the Valorant scene. We are blessed to have a very rich scene. And I know you two are really familiar with most of them as well. And Vincent, you love a good quiz. So I've combined some formats. I pulled some resources as well and budget for this segment. Who's that mystery guest, you might ask? I have 3 mystery guests for you two. You two must, between you, figure out who this person is and what they do, what their job is and who they are. It is all related to Valorant, okay? The game of Valorant. Now, you're going to have 3 questions each, and they have to be yes or no questions. Are you down? Are you ready?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Okay, without further ado, let's bring out our mystery guest number 1. So all right, okay, who could this be? I'm familiar with her. Don't know if you guys are, so
it rings a bell.
Okay, who wants to start? You have yes or no questions. Kukuka, go.
Are you a Game Changers player?
TubeBuddy helps your YouTube videos get...
Alright.
Hey.
Do you work here?
I actually don't tell anyone. Yes.
Oh, okay, she works
that
here.
should help.
Okay. Are you an observer?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you by any chance zoom into the butts of agents?
That's oddly specific.
Cannot
appreciate you. Wow, who actually got that? You, right, Cougar?
Yeah.
All right, 1 point to you, 1 point to you.
Yes.
Now it's time to bring out our mystery guest number 2. And let's see how you do with this one. All right, we have our number 2 guest. Here's the microphone. The stage is yours.
Thanks,
Are you guys ready with your questions? Vincent, let's start.
By the looks, are you British?
Yes.
Look, does that narrow it down?
A lot.
only a
Okay,
few of
okay.
Depends. Would you consider yourself a massive K-Core fan?
No.
I know who it is.
I know
who it is.
I know it.
I don't care what you say. It's Sideshow.
Correct.
That was too easy. That was
okay.
too easy.
You guys got it.
Too
Thank you
easy.
very much, Sideshow, for making the trip all the way from North America
So
to
nice.
join us
Yeah.
here. Like I said, I pulled a big budget for this, guys. I did. I feel like the first 2 were too easy, so I've got a really difficult one teed up for you guys. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
Okay, our
Okay.
final mystery guest. Welcome to the show.
Who's that?
Ooh, I love the fit.
I do too, but I think this is a tough one. This is a tough one. All right, let's start with the questions.
Are you a pro player?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
He's got an accent.
Yeah. He's done. Have you
It was a no.
ever coached a professional team by any chance?
Yes.
Oh, we're getting
Okay.
closer.
That should
Okay,
make it
okay.
easy.
Have you ever won an international trophy?
No.
That's okay.
Another
Could be a
no.
lot of
I feel like
though.
this is bullying.
Okay.
Vincent?
Yeah, but if the answer would have been yes, you know.
Have you ever directly qualified for champions without having to play LCQ? Is that possible?
No.
No. Okay, he has never. He's played LCQ. All right.
I think we're getting
We're
there.
getting
Okay, 2 more questions though. You've only got 2
yeah.
left.
Do you think the Summon FC was better than Fish 123?
No.
What?
But that was a hard no. That was
only
a
giving me
hard no.
no.
Okay, I think I got it now.
Okay, last question.
Yeah. Do you prefer snails over slugs by any chance? Is that possible?
No.
I know who it is.
Who is
Okay,
it?
I know who
okay,
it is.
Who is
okay.
it?
It's Doom Bros.
Is it Doom Bros? No, wait, okay, he's taking off the disguise. It's not Doom
Oh.
Bros.
It's Minnie.
It's Minnie. Correct. We have Minnie on the
Thank
show.
you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us, Minnie, coming all the way out from prepping for your match later. Thank you very much. And that was who's our mystery guest. I can't believe you said is that Doom Bros, but I will say
Emin?
though,
I was between the two,
big love and shout out to Sideshow because it was I think a 13-hour plane
That's
journey he
a
had to
very
take
long
just to
flight,
be here, and hopefully he's going to be with us for a bit later as well to watch these 2 games.
Exactly. But I bet that the reason that he came over was the banger that we have for a day today. So maybe we can get him on the desk. Who knows if he wants to make an appearance?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Cameron Corp isn't playing.
I think that's why he's here today.
Just came here today to
Yeah.
be back tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe production will let us do that again because I have a few more mystery guests lined up. But I think Cougar won that 3-0. So Cougar, you are the winners of a quiz once again. I think you
Thank
need to
you,
get better
Minnie.
at quizzes.
Rigged.
Zesh, but before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a look. Our first matchup of today, it is Koi taking on FUT. All right, let's start with Koi in this matchup of Koi versus FUT.
Right.
I do feel like coming into this, you were so confident about this being one of the better Spanish teams. Not just in Spain,
Yes.
but just one of the better teams in general. Do you feel like a little bit let down so far by the results that we've seen from them?
I think that it's been complicated. I think that they came in so strong, getting that first win against Navi, something that any other team that has gone against them cannot say. But ever since then, it looks like they lost everything that they came in prepared for. We know that they're going into this road of, banning for the enemy and preparing, or at least trying to, but they're just not getting there. And when you see them inside the game, the ideas run out in the middle of the round.
And the thing is, right, the second game they had after they have beaten Navi, I was like, you know what? It's Vitality. Vitality isn't that bad of a team. You lose in overtime 0-2 to them. Happens. That happens, right? But it unfortunately, you know, it's a reverse Na'Vi. It just got worse.
I don't want to be too negative. I feel like that was a negative way of ending it, but I think the players know as well. You know, we saw them against Giants. They looked like they were under a lot of pressure.
That was tough.
And also a Spain versus Spain game as well.
I know.
I think a lot of the reactions from them, I know a couple times they got maybe a little bit tilted, a little bit emotional. And Zesh, we've seen a lot of other teams maybe in the game struggle with this. But having said that, it wasn't as bad as I thought it could be.
It definitely wasn't. And I mean, particularly, you know, some of those score lines really showed you. You're down like that, and suddenly it's all calm, all listening, all probably Barbara screaming, or at least being a little bit upset about what's happening.
I don't think it was
but this is no, but this is not the face that those are not the faces that look like they can come back in this very desperate situation they were on that map.
It's very complicated because that was after round 10, and it was already the second timeout that Barbara had asked for that half, especially when the score line is looking like that. Is something that you have to do. I think it's also something that we saw Na'Vi doing yesterday, just asking for both the timeouts. We need to talk what is going on, and I think they're in their heads, especially if you've known from the past players like Starkso, players like Koldamin, that you know that they live the experience of being in LAN and just having the other players on the other side, and you know that they can hype up the team. If you see what we just saw, there's no way you back up from that.
No, but the thing is, they do have the right pieces. They can come back from this, but we can't ignore the fact something is obviously going wrong for them right now. It's not working. I think one of the burdens of being on KOI is that the fans are very passionate. They expect wins. They expect you to win. And I think a lot of the heat was kind of pushed onto Wolfen, you know, one of the younger players, one of the rookies of our league. But do you guys feel like this is fair? Is he the issue at all?
I don't think so. Like, I've seen so many occasions when they're in game and we see KOI trying to execute something. I feel like Wolfen is just following orders, because even after the timeouts, that is something that you could spot so quickly. The Baba would be like, no, don't do that, or you need to stop doing that. Even with that, after the timeouts, he keeps doing that, or goes even more aggressive, tries to find more information, and you can see that even though, you know, he's the one dying first or yada yada, not getting the big numbers, he's literally doing what he's told to do.
And that is a perfect point, because there was this recent video that was on the YouTube channel of VCT where there was Kellogg saying Koldamenta is a great IGL that helps their duelists to become the one that are in the spotlight and that are the ones that can do their job. And exactly as you say, following orders, following what to do in entering those sites. In the case of Wolfen, it seems like he unfortunately does not always result that in kills, which is okay, but then the rest of the team has to come up with that.
That's what I mean. Is that the reason why KOI are losing?
No.
Is it because of him?
It is such a big contrast with other teams. I don't think that it's him. I think it's the plan overall, the lack of innovation from what we've seen previous years. I think it's still something that they can work on.
Yeah, I mean, again, they have the right pieces, and they have won already, so it's not the end of the world. But their opponent today, I feel like it's a very different beast. Now, whose new favorite team is not FUT? And if they're not your favorite team right now, you're doing something wrong. They should be your favorite team right now. And Vincent, we've seen this little caterpillar in the cocoon blossom finally into a butterfly. They are not the same Turkish teams that we saw before.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a reason why I invested in the NFUT. This is the old summer 2022 FUT that we're seeing that do, unfortunately, few individual mistakes. You see right there, they're dying one by one. They're dying in fights that could have been prevented. But here it is perfect. Sister getting a double kill, basically because they're not coming with the right kind of timings. And that is the old footballist that was doing odd mistakes type of FUT. The kind of team that was still seeking an identity but could not find it, which resulted in not the best results. I mean, it got better towards the end of the year. Don't get me wrong, they won the Valorant Regional League Championship. But when we take a look at how they've invested in the future, I'm so much happier how they've done right now. They feel so more complete. They feel so much more calm. They feel so much more structured.
Well, let's have a look at now, because this is the FUT that we saw very recently.
Exactly, and this is where you see such well-coordinated executes that work piece by piece. Every single one of those pieces, we could take minutes to explain how this B-side goes, but all of this good structure on taking such a compact side has a clear, wonderful spice called Kiwi that is exactly what you need, that adds up as the perfect utility, because we always said Turkey's great in fragging, Turkey is great when it comes to winning individual duels, but now this adds up to understanding the game so well.
I mean, that's what Doombro said, right? He said that they are his dream team. They have the Turkish aim, and now like the best strats as well. Kukuka, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I want to see them at Tokyo.
I would
I
love
wanna
to.
see them
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Tokyo.
yeah. The first day, I asked every single team who the dark horse was for the competition, and I think only one team put FUT, not even on the top 4, but also as their dark horse, being like, yeah, this is going to be a surprise for a lot of people. To me, is obviously what you said about bringing something new. I feel like last year they were just following the trails of everybody else, being like, oh, some teams have been using KO. Let's just bring in the KO. But playing most in the comfort zone, in the old comms that will premiate the jet play and the duels. But right now they have depth to them.
What I will say though, because they are going up against Koi today, and
Yes.
the old FUT, the clip you showed was against SMB, another Turkish team. But traditionally in our league, in VCT in general, when Turkish teams go up against European teams, the record is not the best. I feel like if you guys can see this right now it's at 42 to European teams and only 21 to Turkish teams.
It might be the case, but they've already added up too. I think that is great, from 19 to 21. But realistically speaking, I mean, it has been just a weird and different development in the past where we always were like, yeah, the Turkish teams are coming now to EMEA playoffs. It's not going to really go that well. We had a few exceptions, but, that was pretty much it. And now with this 2023, I think you talked about the dark horses, right? But
Yes.
everyone was believing more, at least, a little bit more in that Turkish scene.
I think it's breaking the stereotype completely of
Thankfully.
the idea that we had for Turkish teams. Yeah, we know that there are a lot of Turkish players that can hit some bullets, but now they're actual teams. Like, people really have respect for them. I don't think like Koi turned up today being like, yeah, they're just gonna go for duels. We just need to be prepared for them.
The oxygen liquid days are far, far behind
Yes.
us. And I can't wait for the day to say I told you so, because I've been here since 2020, batting for these guys. But there's also been a bit of an update, of course. We know FUT, they were running a 6-man roster. They actively were swapping out player Atta
Yes.
for Mouge. And we do have a tweet here from Mouge just to explain about what's going to happen for the rest of the season. Actually, he's sitting out completely. He's not going to be swapping in for maps anymore. Does this mean that, Vincent, that a player like Atta, he's going to have to branch out to those agents that Mouge usually plays?
Well, it pretty much has two options, right? Either he plays what he's comfortable with, which often doesn't seem to be an option because you need a dedicated initiator in those roles, or alternatively, you do, as you said, you have to see him swap over to those agents. I personally am kind of saddened about it because I like the 6-man roster idea. I like the idea of swapping in players in and out. Not many teams do it. I understand why they've done it, because Captain has proved how good he is.
Yeah.
Captain is up there, top 10 player from an ACS perspective, and that is what I enjoy so much about it. Is it sad? Yes. Is it giving us an opportunity to see other Captain even be better and prove himself on more maps? Also, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Mouge has been around for a long time, so I'm a
True.
little bit sad to see he's not going to keep playing, but we can't deny that the 5, including Atta, has been the reason they've found so much
totally.
success here. But I said this yesterday, but I'm going to bring it back again. But Cougar, FUT,
Yes.
they are the best Lotus team. Let's just be honest. I'm not going to say in the world. No, I am. They're the best Lotus team in the world. For a reason.
Okay. I prepared something for you
Yeah.
because I know that you're going to enjoy this, and it's going to show a little bit of that depth that we were talking about when it comes to FUT, and also compare it to another team that has played, a fair amount of Lotus, and how they adapt their compositions and their playstyles. I'm actually going to go to the other side so you can see the minimap, especially because this is a round where footballists are trying to work around the Killjoy ult, the Killjoy ult. The beginning of the round, they're going to be forced out by Destrian, and it's just the Harbor ult that is keeping them from going into the sites. But as you can see, a lot of control over both of them, just working with the walls, working with the extra pressure, and trying to work the map little by little. This execute was so changing for every single round that awarded footballists with a lot. They try and make Vitality use up all their utility. When they get the Killjoy ult, they use it as a fake. And you can see that even though Vitality has won a lot of control over C, they're still waiting. And even with that utility, given the freedom to Kiwi to just go on the hunt and go on the kill, this literally looks like a FUT that knew exactly how to work around that specific round and had an exact plan of how to use the Killjoy ult. Beautiful round that they're going to get. And now on the other side, we're going to take a look at Koi versus Na'Vi. Again, I want to highlight that, especially from Koi, this control over B at the beginning of the round is so important. And again, they want to work around trying to get the ult for Killjoy to try and do an execute. Koi love the sea control, and it's something that they had more easily, just because there's not a harbor on the other side that is going to be constantly pushing you. But as we see, they fight for the orb that Wolf can get, and the execute is going to be completely different. Again, for Koi, everything relies on the presence that you live on mid, but it's not something that is going to come from the turret, for example, for Killjoy, that I think many teams use. This is going to be a straight execute, and it's just two beautiful ways of trying to use the utility from Killjoy from two different teams. We know that Lotus is a complicated map, a map that actually teams like to play, is one of the maps that we have seen the most, just because it's still in development and there are many things to try out. But if Koi is to follow up with and just continue what they've been doing up to now, they will ban it today, because as you said, Yunsu, and I believe you're right in that, FUT are just too good with it. And if Koi are banning for their opponent, as they have been doing, they should do it today.
We're going to find out today in due course. And Vincent, would it be wise for Koi to take this away from FUT?
I think it is, particularly after that 113.
They're going to do it.
They're going to remove it. And I think that is the best choice.
Smart choice indeed, but where does this leave us? Okay, Icebox is chosen by FUT.
Oh, okay.
That's a little bit of a surprise, because this is a map that they banned against Heretics the other day, after Heretics was so kind to ban the Fracture for them. Koi is going to select Ascent. I could literally sit down and give you a full breakdown of what they do round to round, because it's always the same.
I know we had that graphic of Turkish teams versus EU teams in the past, but I need that graphic on Ascent, because picking Ascent into Turkish teams, Vincent, as you know, is the worst idea. It's not even like a good idea, it's the worst.
It is a major risk, and I mean, overall, it's kind of interesting to see. FUT last time around on Icebox played it against the Heart Thieves. That was back obviously when we were at lock-in, so we haven't seen it yet in our regular stage throughout the weeks we had, which makes it quite interesting. I'm quite excited for that, because to be very honest, it is something that I'm just not so sure about, because both have not played it during our regular season. Both have sometimes left it to be banning it or leaving it open, and those things usually are an indicator to me that it's not the most favorable or the one you leave to hover.
But do we go there? Do you guys think we'll end there?
So that's, here's the question, right? I do not think that Koi expected that Icebox to be the first map. I don't think that at all. So that leaves the window open to even get to a third map, because in my head, I can perfectly see FUT taking this 2-0 just by having that surprise there and just shattering Koi mentally.
I know they're already the best Lotus team, but are they just like coming for Fnatic's turn for being the best Icebox team?
I mean, they're gonna last them like what, 2 more weeks?
Yeah, 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. Yeah, teams have 2 more weeks to go. But let's talk a little bit about this Icebox, because Koi, that was one of the first times we even saw them as a team back at lock-in. We haven't seen it at all in EMEA yet. I know you guys talk about changes and so on. We saw Na'Vi yesterday. But this is where teams, they can start to experiment. It's not like the old Icebox where it's just one comp and that's it.
Yeah.
Koi, they can bring some funky things.
They could, yeah, but I think that, again, in the pecking order, in the pecking list, I don't think that bringing something new is something that they have to focus on. They just have to improve what they have already. I think that especially on the match that we saw against Energy, they suffered from the 9-3 curse. Which is very painful. I remember vividly watching it, being like, no, please just tell me that you're going to be able to close this one up. Because just imagine that Koi, as a team, jumping into tier 1 could be like, yeah, we beat NRG in our first day. That's what we did.
They nearly did.
They nearly did. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
But the interesting part is that they so far throughout this year have never changed the composition. Not on one map. So that is giving us this idea of maybe they're sticking to full safety. Maybe they're not swapping too many things around. I would be generally surprised if we would see that, even though with the time given, you know, you say it's not the highest on the pecking order. I agree. But at the same time, I also would just want to see some changes basically for the sake of it, because you have to say so far, not everything worked, even when you didn't do those changes.
Yeah, on the side of FUT as well, you know, you talk about how Koi, they have so many things they need to focus on. Maybe they're prioritizing one thing over the other. And looking at this map, Paul, as well, Ascent, Atta didn't play there. It was Moose that came in.
Yes.
So how much work have FUT been putting in to make sure to get Atta, you know, kept up? Is this something you feel like Koi maybe lean towards on purpose, knowing that?
I don't think so. I don't think they care that much about that fact, because at first they still need to get there with a good mental, because I have a feeling that FUT are just going to surprise us on that first map. But for Ascent, Atta still hasn't lost a single map here. So
Yeah,
I
true.
think that he's just living his best life. I do not think that he's the kind of player that you have to put extra worry about being like, oh my God, we need to teach him how to do this and that. I don't think that that's the case, and I do not think that Koi sees it that way.
And I also think when we're talking about Ascent, right, previous results from Koi are not giving us the indicator that they should be too scared at that. So, you know, it feels like with that victory against Na'Vi, and they're super close when against Giants at 11-13, I believe they themselves think they're confident enough, but at the same time, it's a Turkish team they're playing against on
Okay,
this map.
quick percentage for and against.
Oh,
Odds. What are the odds? What are the odds?
70 for FUT, 30 for Koi.
I put it 60-40 FUT.
For the whole series, not just Icebox.
Whole series.
Whole series.
Whole series.
Oh, okay, okay. We'll see what happens. You were kind of right yesterday, but we will see indeed. You guys know the maps already, and the teams are currently warming up to get onto stage. Let's bring them out. Give a warm welcome to Koi and FUT.
Koi.
Yeah, wanna be a top boy, keep the movement flowing, don't stop, boy. Wanna drive a new car straight out of the block, boy, keep your mind focused on the plot, boy. Yeah, wanna be a top boy, keep the movement flowing, don't stop, boy.
FUT Esports.
Trying to push to the top of the pack, think I'd stop, no, never that. Trying to get to the top of my game. I don't want to hear no talk from names. I don't want to do it if there's not no gain. Them man are lacking cause them man don't train. Hey, I can't accept one loss. Trying to be something I'm not. Trying to push to the top of the pack, think I'd stop, no, never that. I can't accept one loss. Trying to be something I'm not. Trying to push to the top of the pack, think I'd stop, no, never that.
In the history of VCT EMEA, we've never really had a Turkish team that can be considered as the favorite, as the one that could continue that win streak, and we finally got it with FUT. How big of a statement do you guys think it would make if they are able to just win this out today?
I mean, I think it would be amazing if we follow on that trail that they did last week against Vitality. I think for many people it came out as a surprise. For them, it looked like another day at the office. They even tried something new. They brought the Gecko. At the end of the day, they said, yeah, we don't like the Gecko. We didn't think that it was going to work this way. But hey, they tried, they test, and they experiment.
But it proves that it's not a fluke, right, Vincent? If
No,
they can take out Koi after Vitality, they're just good.
I think it never really was a fluke. It never seemed like a fluke. It never was a surprise. They really redefined the way they play, their passiveness on defense that I like so much about them, that gives them the opportunity to play it all calm and collected against teams that are slow against them. This is the only thing I'm worried about. If Koi step up and are going a bit faster, that could become a problem for FUT, but that is just the future.
Well, we're heading into Agent Select now. Koi, again, we haven't seen them play this map since lock-in, but Cougar, you don't see, yeah, same for FUT, but you don't expect changes on the side of Koi at least. Maybe for FUT?
Maybe something. I want to see them on the side of FUT. Okay.
There's a swap.
Mr. Fallen
All right.
is going to swap. I like this.
Stop,
I love
so
this. This is
too.
something that I expected.
Woo.
They're going for that double controller. Start so moves. And
It's
no
making
sage.
me,
No sage on the
it's
server.
making me feel a type of
I
way,
like that.
Vincent.
I
There's
like
going
that
to
a
be
lot.
so many walls.
It's so-
The plants are going to get so complicated. I think that Trex here has the upper hand, having the KO and opposite to the Fade. I think that it's his time, his moment to shine. And, you know, not even a duelist. Wolfen is feeling safer on the Sova.
Yeah, crucial change also here on FUT is that they fully removed the Sova in this case, only rely on the Fate. Not the most usual for Icebox itself, though we saw changes there from time to time. But
Not a
both
fan.
going, no, same, exactly. Not a fan, because on executes it seems so important to actually have such a Sova, for example. So therefore, it's an interesting swap. I like it that we moved to double control.
I also like it for Wolfen. He was under so much fire for not being the duelist that people wanted him to be. But for you, those of you guys that don't know about this player, he's played so much Sova.
So much.
He is so comfortable on this agent. It takes the pressure off of him this week.
Yeah, I still remember even when he moved onto the chamber and he was doing different things in Spain, he always said it like, you know, I'm a Sova player, but I will play for the team. It's not like I want to be playing this all the time. I want to be flexible. But we know that specifically here in Icebox, he was under so much pressure. He was not getting the duels. He was not getting the impact that he needed to have for his team. And I think that with Sova and the way that you can play on this Icebox without a duelist that we've seen so many times, because people, you know, do not remember that there was a time with Chamber. I don't miss those days, actually.
Vincent, how many agents are there in the game? You should know this. You're a little quiz guy.
21 or 22, I can't
Well,
write
all
down.
I'm going to say is with this Harbor, it's Starkso's 18th agent in an official match.
Why not?
18th. He's becoming that player, that flex player.
Honestly, I think that Starkso, especially during 2021, it was everybody's flex player. Like if you have to pick someone to play a little bit of everything and just try and test some stuff, Starkso is never going to say no to trying something.
And talking about that, Mr. Fallen does the same. Also adding a new agent to his repertoire, right? This is once more showing that he has an IGL, is definitely there to take that responsibility for a team. Like, you know what? We need a second kind of controller in this. I'm going to do it. And I think that's a perfect decision.
Now, what I want to see is, because we also saw, you know, Mixwell taking on this job on Icebox, and we thought, oh, it's going to be like a DRX Harbor. But some of those wars were a little bit funky. You know, some of the synergy just wasn't quite there. So are we expecting these teams to go on maybe the DRX level? Or would you want to see something different?
I don't think that Starkso can be held to the same standard, just because I don't think that he has had the time to perfect it. If we are to come out of this map and Starkso has perfect walls and perfect understanding of it, I mean, props to him.
Starkso.
He will prove that he's still got it.
Yeah, it is Starkso, but that's the thing though. There's a lot of Harbor util that's so easy to just miss. Like, you want to war somewhere and it doesn't go your way. And that seems like a crucial thing that Vincent, both Mr. Farlin and Starkso have to get right here.
Yeah, it sounds so simple, but like, for example, stopping off this cascade is sometimes teams that get missed where they somehow give the opponent more room that they actually intended to. It is not the easiest thing at the end of the day, but I believe that both still prepared decent enough. It's finally a change. This is the first change of coin compositions that we've seen this year.
I think it sets a common ground to Koi, right? We were talking about Wolfen maybe not being completely comfortable with the role that he was playing, not getting the results that he expected. Now he's just one more of the team. He's going to be setting the ground just like the rest. He doesn't have to be the first one to go in. He doesn't have to go the extra mile to actually be useful for his team.
What I will say though, on the side of FUT, I know there's no duelist for Koi. It's good that Wolfen can be comfortable, but Kiwi, Kiwi, he's having a great tournament, Zesh, and Icebox is a map made for someone like him.
He had his VCT debut on this map back in LCQ in 2021, and he was instantly catching everyone off guard on how good he was. If this man performs as we know him, might have not done this throughout the season so far, as for example our captain steps up massively, it would be a miracle. This is a guy that can, with the operator, particularly on Icebox, decide how the game goes.
Again, I still think that there is a lot on this map that goes onto Trex for him being playing the KO. We're talking about Kiwi. He has to be one of the ones like spotting him and actually shutting him down so he doesn't feel comfortable, you know, with the operator picks and just, you know, being a jet player and being electric, which is something that, as we said, didn't work for Koi, but definitely could work for FUT.
Well, Doombro said something last night about how you prep for something all week and then the comms come out and you're like, whoops. All of our prep is out of the window, so I don't know if it's going to happen today for these two teams, but I cannot wait to see and introduce to you guys to our casters for the first game. Give a big welcome, Coliseum, to Pansy and Hypog.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's fantastic to be back here for week 3 coming into this. Very polarizing results in this game, I feel, on paper. You look at the two teams head-to-head, very drastic results. You know, 2 wins, 1 loss. 1 win, 2 losses. Couldn't get much different. But I think in the server, there's been more competition from Koi than maybe it shows in the results. I'm saying it. I'm on board the Koi train.
Far. For me, I've been riding the foot wave, honestly.
You're a foot fan?
Yeah, big foot fan. Get that out of the way nice now, first one of the day.
Why not?
I've just been so impressed with what they've been able to demonstrate. And I think Lotus has honestly been the catalyst for this team to actually carry across a lot of this discipline and total readdressal of the fundamentals from that team. Again, Captain for me, Kiwi's been fantastic. He's been the headliner for me.
He has been.
Captain has been insane. And again, it's good to get some insight there with the tweet earlier we showed of how that roster is going to look going forward, because I hate to say it, but I'd probably feel a little more comfortable if that's the case. Again, agent pool's the second discussion we can have on that. And actually, just to bring agent discussion into this is a big positive for Koi, in my eyes, to have this, again, keeping up with the times and looking at kind of what's a bit more applicable here on Icebox, even though it's only short-lived, maybe, for how long Icebox is going to be left here. But this is a big positive, because Koi have to show us something in the server this week, today.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And again, roll your minds back. Yes, we saw them up against the likes of NRG and actually had a good result in lock-in, not a victory, but it looked good. You saw a couple of very positive trends from the likes of, you know, Shados in there, a couple of others having a really big series. That was fantastic. Now we have to see if that comes through again. This was a little bit of a curveball, I think, in the veto to come through at this point, so still.
The one thing I do want to see with this comp change here is Coldamenta being a little less linear, because that's been something that's always been concerning with, I mean, not just Koi, but Coldamenta in general on Icebox. It's very feast or famine. If you can get away with murder on these lurks, there's a lot of impact, and you kind of just ride the numbers of what you see at the end game.
Bit of a victim of his own success at times, though.
Absolutely.
People became hyper aware of what he was doing. Bit of a kingmaker in his time. He'd always be able to foster fantastic rosters and be able to get away with a couple of bits and pieces. But the awareness is there, and as is now the site here. Towards A they go. There's problems for Captain, and actually gets away scot-free for now. Surely there's a someone deal with Captain. He's alive on 10 HP. Finally, Koi clear the site. Spike's going to go down to the last two.
Okay, I was going to say, Starzo was eating that snake bite. It was actually the nano swarm to finish things off. Watching Kiwi now, find themselves in a 2v3. Coldamenta and Shadows tagged up. Actually, Trex will fall as well.
It's so individual, one by one. Fortunate enough, left to reload, so had to get the job done. But Kiwi is in a good spot. Full HP for him on the other side. The walking wounded. Time's running so low. 9 seconds, 6 seconds now. It's dwindling. Needed one more bullet to hit. Coldamenta lucky to be alive, but a little bit of a feast that round for him.
It's a way with murder to close that one out for Koi. And concerning to see the initial approach there. I mean, there's so much pressure coming towards Captain. So the recombo, he actually gets tagged by the suppress as well, so he doesn't have use of any of his utility to slow this hit down. And somehow, I mean, even though the kills go in Koi's favor, FUT are able to actually withstand that first hit.
I am a little aboard the Koi train. I'm going to put it out there. I've seen glimmers of hope in Starzo, right? I've seen that little rollback.
Give me week one Shados again, and I'm with you. I'm with you.
Go ahead. I'm ready to see it. Now they've heard a lot of this. Let's see if they can keep it clean. So far, Wolfen starts building up. Yeah, all good so far. Down to Kiwi and Cracks, but they've both been noted, so falling back seems near on impossible. As you can note that Wolfen is keeping them boxed in. And maybe looking to get certain ults online. So yeah, farmed through pretty comfortably. Made an attempt there for tried to maybe push up on an extremity, find a scrap, get the rifle down, didn't manage it. Moving on.
So just how versatile Koi can remain. Again, this early, very passive default from, again, any iteration of a Coldamenta team really is the approach. But FUT have been great at doing their homework, and some of the approaches to certain maps and certain situations have purely been prep-oriented. And that's been the real positive. It's always been the, I guess, question around when do we see the Turkish super team, and it kind of does come down to the macro level, the fundamentals, because you can always have these pop-off players.
Yeah. It's something that I think a lot of us are excited by, especially if you watch 2022, 2021. It was, can any of the Turkish squads really translate to an international degree?
Yeah.
Fantastic regionally. Outside of that, they normally faltered. We're finally seeing one of the teams show that. However, to the start of this game, though, we look at what this bonus actually contains. 2 rifles still remaining.
Packs a punch.
Yeah, not bad at all, actually, and 2 Bulldogs. I thought there was going to be another Spectre or something in there, but no, it's only Wolfen sat down towards that. Alt-wise, Coldamenta building towards his. Trex pretty far away. No one else really looking too close, but it looks like a lean back towards the A site here.
See only 2 members of FUT in position here. Finally, Mr. Fallen coming across. It maybe caught sound of a jump or 2. Cracks definitely. We'll get some information here. Early investment of a snakebite here, ahead of the harbor wall coming up. Gives lots of time for FUT to actually adjust based on this.
Yeah, and FUT are still keeping the cards close to their chest. Unable to identify who's on the back of the site here. Yes, they know that Fade's sitting around somewhere, but there's a whole lot more pressure where that came from. Unable to secure the spike plant either. Now for that second try of it, this time it's down. Coldamenta going to try and control over towards that corner of Maze, but Coldamenta's in a bit of a dangerous predicament here, Mike.
He is. Actually, yeah, Shados has got a massive position here.
This is sick, and good for a second as well. That Bulldog brought to bear, and now Cracks. And Captain still alive, it ain't over yet, and now it is. Wolfen, safe pair of hands, they convert the bonus. They must be chuffed with that.
And this has got to be a little frustrating as well. You look at the minimap, you see 3 members of FUT positioned towards site. They still have 2 actually that have to rotate across, and there's no awareness. Shados isn't seen, there's no utility shown at all towards site, so somebody has to be asking these questions.
Lovely.
Here, actually, FUT are able to wrap around towards default, but at that point, it's almost then Koi in a better position to capitalize on that. Couple of early concerns here.
What's caught your attention?
I mean, there needs to be some awareness from FUT in that rotation to come across. If Koi continued to try and punish A side, we saw on the pistol, again, bonus aside, there was a 5-man stack towards B main. If this is kind of Koi's game plan here, and to kind of mitigate the lack of the Sage and use Harbor towards this A hit, have to see some space taken elsewhere. Early days yet, just initially.
Certainly a trend that we could see carry on forward. Something worth touching back in on later into this, at least this half. We'll double check, see where that's at. For now, a little bit of variety, spice of life and all that good stuff. But again, probably the right choice when they're up against pistols. Much easier to sit into this post plant now. Depend on some of that nice utility a little bit deeper. Don't even have to really entertain the concept of holding that close to sight. Look at the post plant setup. Very nice.
Big knife as well.
Yeah, catching 3 there. So you're looking for anyone to hit some belters, basically. You need that Sheriff to crack open something in this post plant, because they can just run through that utility cycle so perfectly.
A lot to work with here. Trex just trying to find a spam kill initially. FUT got to wait out this Viper as well. Actually, as I say that, Captain looking to get ahead of it. Tap out for some utility, but Wolfen finds it.
Yeah, very nice. But they're starting to run out of time now. This is, yes, the end of the utility for the post plant, but still no progress made on the spike, and Koi re-emerging towards the site, clearing as they go. Kiwi going to find one on the way. Can't make it out, though. And actually losing a couple of these rifles in the meantime, but round on the board again for Koi. 4-0, Mike. Not a bad start by any means. They've got to be happy with this.
No, not concerning really, because Starzo's one of them to survive. I think he was down at 1550, so comfortable purchase coming back into this. Not really going to damage the economy too much. Kiwi with an early operator here, and technically around behind where we would usually see it. And FUT barely touched on their first ult cycle, and interestingly enough, Koi in a similar position. They've really actually spread the wealth in terms of that ult cycle here. It's
right there.
Trex the furthest away, 3 from the null command. Shados 2 off that Killjoy lockdown. Koi going to revert back towards his A here. This early A pump.
Yeah, and a captain going to be found early, suppressed, has to fall away from this. I do want to see if there's evolution on it from the Koi side as well. Obviously, they've had a couple of wins in the pocket now, kind of approaching it this way.
Interesting if this is actually an intentional adjustment here, that Wolfen's posted up in this lurk to try and find a kill maybe, and play a late Hunter's Fury.
Are they going to pressure this? Yeah, they're pushing deep towards that A site. They're actually going around with the Prowler now. That's a shot! And a captain snaps Trex's head off. That's massive. And that Prowler had been used in the past. It had noted, I think, last time around Wolfen or someone. But regardless, this is a totally different look. They worked with intent behind it, and I love seeing that. But the adjustment on the way back in. Koi looking to flex through middle. This time, Mr. Fallen wants to show off a little bit of that aim as well. Finds Coldamenta. 1 by 1, Koi being picked apart.
Yeah, spotted Wolfen as well. You can see the ping coming through a second. Peek there from Mr. Fallen. Actually, Wolfen didn't spot it. Awkward engagement here. Will be caught on the retreat. A little bit of help from Modge on the way.
Kiwi. Yeah, lovely. Kept his composure all that time, didn't overstep. He knew that there was going to be aggression or at least space taken on the A side of the map, so he just had to be that anchor, which he was playing perfectly. Now, the last one, Shados. A 1v5, quite the task. Probably not going to happen.
It's a good positive for me. Talking about the early concerns on the side of FUT. Actually, so early on, the adjustment here is to try and punish that slow approach I was talking about. Yes, not the typical default we would see, but if FUT's response is to actually isolate an opening engagement, again, the lack of a duelist in this composition, who do you really want taking that front line? It's a util heavy composition on the side of Koi here.
But are you
again, we've talked about different scenarios of, for example, the Harbor falling first when you haven't got the Sage. That then relinquishes any possibility of a B-side hit coming through or an easy B-side hit coming through. Again, if it's Coldamenta to fall, there are just so many concerns on who is it to take the opening duel here.
I very much agree. It's just curious if they think that's a full answer. Obviously, it's not. You're not going to hit that shot every single time. You can't just keep exploring with that Prowler every time. So I want to see what they now slip into as their long-term solution.
I guess for me, it's actually the positive to see that if Kiwi's got the operator online, then somebody else to find that opening kill. Because then you have some of those Kiwi rounds in your back pocket.
You do. And now getting a little brazen with it. FUT showing off a little bit now. Taking that space, taking the ult orb, and then dipping away. Not sure if they got anyone's ult online.
Similar situation here, though. If Trex feels any pressure, who's there to actually bail him out? The spacing between him and Starzo isn't ideal.
No, it is quite substantial, isn't it?
Shados technically still here. They're trying to play contact, maybe off a flash from the turret. Kiwi going to feel a little bit of heat as well towards B main.
Complemented his composure last time. Now now going to be put to the test with 2. Last time it was only 1 for him.
Oh, he nearly got the wallbang there.
Jesus. So close where they get to keep their life. They're forcing away from that initial angle. This has pulled a rotation. They've had to respect this. There's now, I guess, 2 players dedicated towards B. You do still have Moj sitting towards kitchen, so you get a fairer fight towards A. Are they going to go aggressive this time? No, so they can go back to worked if they have that utility still in play. They do. Starzo's still there, Trex is the knife, still got Wolf, and yes, no Aldrome, but
Reckoning as
still,
well, actually.
quite a lot to clear this site. And as you noted, gets called in. Now the site's in trouble. They have to relinquish any sort of fight on this one. Want to see if anyone tries to linger around? Absolutely not. So yeah, this should be, I say should, a relatively safe plant. Looks like we're going to have the odds coming back in, and actually Starzo's gone down. How
Again,
the hell did that happen?
It's the Snakebite and the Nanoswarm combo.
Huge setup, and now the problem is time. They don't have enough of it.
It's done. It's literally done. Again, FUT approached this perfectly. You're only really looking for some chip damage off that utility. That execution there for FUT, you have to be calling. Let's play retake. But Starzo again, sitting inside, tanking some of that dashing, some of that damage. And actually, I don't even think that Nanoswarm was placed initially. Mod just thrown that from behind screens.
If we've got a replay, I'd love to see it, because I'm kind of interested. They were.
I was looking at the minimap and I was thinking, actually, yeah, if you're going to lean away from A, you do want some of that killjoy utility there. Yeah, exactly. Again, I was just guessing, but the fact that this has happened again, Starzo's happy to tank that initial snakebite damage because he's inside. He's
so
inside
there's no further
cove.
threat to it,
exactly.
right?
He can't be spammed with bullets, right?
But the Nanoswarm is...
And when there's no Sober here, you're thinking, yeah, okay, I can tank a little bit of snakebite damage. It's beautiful from FUT.
But I genuinely like the concept coming back in from Koi, though. They made the right choices to get back on the site, right? They dealt with that pressure on B, pulled the rotation, ran out of time because, again, the utility work coming out from FUT has been actually on point. Lovely work. The difference, 1 Nanoswarm made, basically, because that would have been a post-plant, a totally different scenario, could have changed completely.
Similar questions that actually we've had with other teams pulling out this composition. Who is there to pressure behind the cove? Who do you send forward in a util-heavy comp here to really make sure that Starzo's not left on an island on Soulcast duty?
Absolutely cursed roll.
Way ahead of the curve here. Much earlier, and they want to try and draw this utility out now. Very different execution, though. Cracks will find Coldementary ahead of the hit.
They're willing to challenge this time around. I want to see if the plant comes off cleanly. That has been the consistent problem now. We haven't seen them in a safe post plant since the very start of this game. See the spam coming in, Starzo. What are you going to do with it? And once again, the test of time. FUT holding just enough of the space. They have that gateway back towards the site this time around. There is no utility to confirm the kill. The bullet almost did it.
Yeah.
And now the lockdown just to give themselves even more time. Force the hand of footballers, and then they're going for it. They have to find a challenge. Big shot from Starzo, backs away, 33 HP, and that's all he's got to work with. Tap on the spike first time, Cove's there. A little bit of safety on this one, they got to get to work here. Falling can tank another, gets off it though. Doesn't receive the second hit.
Though.
They do have the half. 3v3 though, still, and a captain on defensive duty. Defuse someone! No one can stop it. Again, FUT coming up with the answers. This time they had the plant, Mike. They got that one step further. Next layer comes in.
As soon as that lockdown gets destroyed, you know that you've completely given up side control. I think right there, FUT have made the perfect decision. Get that half defuse as early as possible, because you know that they're going to rely on the next thing. Again, another aspect of this composition, the Hunter's Fury, to play this post plant. Beautifully done by FUT.
Very impressive.
There's so much time in between the ultimate and any pressure coming back towards that initial cove that goes on. But this is also another thing to consider. Koi have been forced into a closed path that they can't actually play these deep angles, and yes, they can play utility, but once that wave's gone, if FUT have taken deep enough control in front of the spike, it's so hard to prevent that defuse.
So I see that work down the scoreline as well. 3-4 now, closing that gap significantly. And an early test. Now, still able to fashion a purchase, though, this time.
But they're probably assuming this is Kiwi solo once again, because that's all it's been previously.
They haven't seen Fallen yet.
They'll hear him now.
That should be pretty indicative. Oh, unfortunate to keep his life. Both sides, if anything, can't get away so cleanly, and actually, just straight through the wall. Trex has got Fallen, maybe overstaying his welcome
You
a
can
little
see the
too much.
frustration there. I think Fallen trying to apply a little bit of pressure for Kiwi to get away. And Koi should try and secure this kill.
Wolf and go on this. Okay. Ooh, dear. The answer. Again, the pressure on these spike plants is huge. There's no comfort in this. They still don't have the spike down. They have still now bodies on the site here. You've got all that utility starting to cycle back through. Time being bought. The map starts to feel small. You fought for that site and you don't have it anymore.
Still got a lockdown to play with as well. 30 seconds left. Starzo's still got the Cove. Again, definitely doesn't feel comfortable. Still 2 snake bites as well for Atta Captain.
Here we go. There's the lockdown.
Beautiful timing on it. Beautiful timing on the lockdown.
Yeah. There's nothing to be done, really.
No.
They've got to deal with this. There's so little to achieve here. Kiwi's starting to pick him off. Trex goes down. Cove's in place. No spike to be planted. They are absolutely screwed. Coldamenta desperate to try and defend this. But with 8 seconds, what choice do they have? Scrap it out. Brawl it out. Spike can't do anything. It's too late. FUT again showing off. They have perfect composure. They understand the scenario. And their utility work, Mike, has been sublime.
Sublime, yes, but it's so basic.
It's
There's
working.
not really any flair to it. Koi just completely fumble in the audible moment of that round, where it's like, oh crap, they put the lockdown. Do we plant? Somebody comes, I think Starzo comes through, is like, yeah, okay, I'll try and get it. Oh, I've not got it. I've got to run away. I'm detained. And then it relies somebody to bail the entirety of Koi out from the back of yellow. Really, really awkward round to watch back. Again, this has been the concern of some of these applications, the Harbor comps, is if you don't get that first plant attempt down, what do you do? Because there's no duelist to then aggress behind these walls, step beyond the utility, dig a little. That's what I was saying. They need to get that kill on Kiwi, because that's the one that almost secures B-side control. That's the only player towards Snowman. It completely opens up, you know, an open plant outside that means that Koi can have a much more comfortable, not sitting backs to the wall in B main, relying on utility.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised we didn't see either Wolfen potentially try and pressure it, you know, try and work through the wall. I know it's a little uncomfortable.
Doesn't feel good at all.
It's not a fun role to try and do, but someone has to do
Wolfen
it.
sends the recon forwards, and there's nobody close enough to him. That's like, cool, yeah, let's double swing this.
No.
Again, let's trade the op. He can only get one of us.
They heard the frenzy. Yeah. They knew they had an opportunity with that, and then didn't take any of that advantage, which is a little bit surprising. Sadly for them, gonna start costing them, and this is a tech timeout if you are wondering.
Shocker. Shocker.
It is now, though, leading into a Koi timeout.
Okay.
So the back-to-back, you know, we're really being treated here. Get all of it. But for Koi, it is time to try and find adjustments. It's 4 on the trot now, coming in for answering that early call.
And comfortable rounds, I've got to say that
it feels close, but they're not. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, if you look at the rounds, they look kind of scrappy on the site, but again, all those key moments, denying the plants, pressuring Stark, so putting him in the soul cast role, perfect use of that lockdown just to soak up the time, no one pressuring Kiwi behind it, all of these things factoring in. I don't know how really Koi are going to come out of this.
No, we need to see a little bit of adjustment around some of these Harbor-oriented, or completely based on Harbor utility executes. Again, I was happy to kind of see a little bit of adjustment in that Hunter's Fury round where it's like, okay, let's throw the Cove towards front screens, cut off those sidelines, apply pressure, obviously ahead of that utility. Then they get some control, but it's a closed plant. It's not a comfortable plant position for them to sit back. Once the Hunter's Fury doesn't get a kill or deny that first half defuse coming through, you're without a paddle. Sat behind Nest, like, okay, cool, we've got to fight back. We've got to hit the site
retake
again.
The site. Yeah. It's I guess another factor that I'd love to see if they could try and figure it out. I mean, it feels near on impossible, but get another lurk going. You saw Shados having so much value to that, but again, hey, go find value in the middle every single round. That's almost impossible. So,
well, like a broken record, sorry. With 3 people there, if you're talking about Coldamenta playing very deep, with 3 people and not one of them being a duelist, that frontline pressure just isn't going to be there for me.
Yeah.
Especially because that front line becomes Trex, Starzo, and Wolfen. Wolfen's going to be droning. Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
No, the math isn't mathing. As it stands, though, variety being explored by FUT. Already going to try and invest Kiwi down towards Tubes, so showing off a little bit of difference, and gets banged out by Coldamenta. All right, well, that's how you started, Mike. There's your duelist. It's actually Viper, and Coldamenta playing it. So, at this point, though, I don't think they've realized. I guess they're trying to figure out what success they've just found with Kiwi being there. Who's been pulled on to B? Where is this additional player?
I mean, I'm happy to see this drone come through, because as I say, on the back of that opener, you want to see some decisiveness here from Koi. Capitalize on that.
But they're willing to fight on this, though. See him posting up in the site.
And Shados actually will backfill that first blood towards Tube.
Even just to, you know, a little bit of a nuisance here, just even hearing this utility is fine. I hope that this is going to draw that additional player back.
Trying to find the turret, I think, with the Nano Swarm, or at least the alarm bot. You did find it.
Did get it. So it's kept that player there. So it is a 4v3 on the site. And a captain, good for 1, though. Doesn't have to slip away just yet. Cracks, finds Trex. And there's no complementary trades. There's nothing. It's so individual. divide and conquer, and Stars are the only one really able to try and make something out of it, but it's futile. That was, I think they answered some of the questions there, but then trying to take the site, they failed.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, the one obstacle that really breaks us apart is FUT hitting every shot they need to.
Yeah.
When the side hit comes through, because Shaylos has timed this to perfection. Actually trying to create some pressure towards Tube. And it's not Cold Dementer, you can hear it's an Nanoswarm, so it's like, hey, maybe there's two posted up here.
Who knows?
And maybe that is the indicator for FUT. It's like, yeah, okay, let's dig our heels in here and actually fight Koi as they come towards site. But again, the spacing is awful, Lauren.
It's very bad.
This cove goes up and it's like, okay, we're cutting off half of the sightlines, but Ats Captain's got a kill ahead of it. So it's not like, there's no security provided by this cove. It's like, oh, well, now Stalzo's got to swing out of his own cove.
Brilliant. That's gone well. Yeah, it's... as much as I've enjoyed seeing Koi try to adapt to this, credit to FUT for staying
absolutely
step ahead. They've really had the answer. Yeah, Kiwi, Tom banged a shot out and it happens. But he's generally been quite slippery.
That doesn't happen every round.
No, it certainly doesn't. That was the first time we've seen it, and they tried to then exploit that, a little bit of an adjustment. But Kiwi, again, different position here, and that actually doesn't note Kiwi. Able to get away with it. Stands tall. Going to take down Condimenta, and a second. Kiwi now starting to fly through this round. A little bit of a wall in place, gives him time to readjust, find another angle. He's confident with it, and I don't blame him to be. The flash through the wall highlights someone else is there. This time does get caught, but 3 big kills. Kiwi having so much impact already. And Starzo and Trex barely finding safety off to the back of that, barely able to hold on towards yellow. There's already rotations in play.
Well, actually, again, a ton of decay coming through. Before Starzo to reconsider this, now actually regaining some HP. Does have his ultimate. Trex has to be on red alert here. Actually, the peak is perfect there with the Veal, and actually Trex finds one, but Mod's good for the trade. And Koi here, I think, just like, yeah, we found the op. Again, is he solo? Let's try it, let's roll the dice.
Find out.
But it takes him so long to pinch yellow. Yeah, now I'm a little bit concerned. That start was fantastic, but it's dwindled very quickly for me.
Yeah, it has.
There needs to be some rounds that are just approached completely differently. It's not based around, we're going to cove and plant. There needs to be some map control, Garner. There needs to be some where you're happy to just throw a 3v3 somewhere on the map.
Try and take the fight.
Yep.
You've got some fiery players.
Exactly. Remove some of this utility, remove some of the control that FUT inherit for free being on the defensive side on Icebox.
Because the sum total of Koi's parts should be nasty as hell. Now this time, dealing with that early attempt, that early foray into aggression, and taking space towards the A site. Time the knife will land. Aware of that aggressive endeavor they've been trying to explore. And Koi start taking the space back. But again, all in this time. There is no one player left back. Maybe you'll see a consideration for Menta, but again, isolated. Trex lucky with that. He was on his own. And the captain does go down, and this time they do have a little bit more side control. 3 players here ready for it though, Kiwi a mile away.
Yeah, first time Atsi tries to get a little bit of damage ahead of even getting towards that utility wave. Starzo immediately spammed off that cove, but open plant this time. So much more comfortable for Koi here.
And he's away.
Do have the Reckoning, it's invested very early on here.
Oh, and the ult to come through at the same time. We've got a couple of ults being invested into this. Kiwi just striding back in there, just falling like flies. How the hell is this happening? Diffuse started.
The snake bite didn't land.
No. Oh no, you got to challenge this. The diffuser has been dealt with. Okay, a 2v2 now. Swing, double face. Moshe's got Condimenta. It's just one. Shados needs to be ice cold. He's got one. Oh, and he's got the second. Shados just about keeping this scoreline from spiraling out of control.
You can see immediately both members of FUT look back towards mid. They look back towards screens, anticipating he's a late round piece once again. I don't know if that's a miscommunication or just a whiff on the lineup, but both snake bites landing for default, not for this open plant on the side of the rope. Thank God for Shados. You see there, if FUT don't panic and look towards the flank, there's a real chance there. Actually, a double face once again clears that.
Yeah. It's pretty fine margins, even in the victories now for Koi. We've got to see if they can maybe bounce further off the back of this. Early on, though, pressure towards Kiwi, who's been incredible at handling it. Gets curious. Doesn't kill the cat, kills Shados this time. Brazen to try and go for that when we know that Kiwi has been happy to deal with this B-long area.
you note him close with the knife as well.
You definitely not quelled him.
There's nobody ahead of Shados, so it's... I don't know.
It's upset you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on, don't worry.
Starzo's dead here. See him clearing down towards barrels and nobody actually swinging from belt there.
Okay, forced away. Nothing to be really... Ooh, the spam. There shouldn't be like a direct threat to life here. I'm looking to see if anything's going to do it. No, it's fine. So we actually do see the post plant, and they're not sitting super deep. They haven't fully backed away from the site this time. Actually committing to the fight on the site, which is precarious to say the least. Still some utility to play with, and Trex is absolutely deleted. Moj is there, and he's actually got another Cold Dementor, just looks ineffective in this. Lockdown comes in, so Starkso, what are you going to do? Stand and fight or try and back away? Wolfen, similar predicament. They've got nothing to play with in this. Starkso is going to have to relinquish this round. He has to respect this as best he can try. It doesn't matter. And a captain seals it, signs it, delivers it. I've got to say, this scoreline should have been harsher against Koi.
I mean, yeah, Koi got away with a miracle here, pulling 5. Again, a very hot start, but even that last one, you noted it. Yeah, Koi want to stand their ground. They want to fight on site here. And there's a swing 3 or 4 seconds apart from Cold Dementor, which then gives FUT the lockdown. Again, a little bit of utility invested here, but it's like, if you're holding left side, send the util to the right, cut off an angle.
Sounds too logical, Michael.
I don't know. Initially, like I said, really happy with the approach from Koi. It looked very,
nice
very reliant on this harbor getting away with freebies in terms of the plants.
Yeah.
The post plants just weren't it for me.
No, and like some of it I do want to kind of put on the fact that Koi simply weren't hitting some of the key conditions we'd have liked them to. But again, that agent composition does feel slightly stunted in its variety in that. And I feel as though FUT, though, in comparison, fully equipped to handle it.
Yeah.
They played it incredibly well. I was very impressed with it. I love that little throw-in of aggression. Turned the tide of that early game. We saw that kind of as the answer they came up with.
That's the thing. Eventually, I think you need to, with one of those hits, it needs to be somebody digging deeper towards backside. If FUT are just going to sit back and say, yeah, we're happy to invest some utility as you're hitting site, then there needs to be somebody to come forwards. Again, is it Trex with the flashes? Is it, I don't know, dare I say Cold Dementor? Just anybody else? This composition, there's no right answer in terms of what you do there.
So there's no clear answer,
who do you throw forwards and sacrifice their utility if you're going to be heavily reliant on this post plant? That was the first example actually on one of their rounds where they do get the plant, where they're happy to actually stay on site and fight for it. So the game plan from Koi has to be the post plant. There needs to be some versatility in game plan. How many times have we seen him actually funnel through mid? The answer's 0, by the way, but that's got to be a question someone's asking. Catch a player in rotation, remove Mod. He's throwing these cheeky nano swarms as the plant's coming through, combining with the snake bite. There needs to be somebody.
One lurk from Shados.
And it worked.
Yes, that was one of the big rounds. There was that attempt at it, I guess, on Tube after you saw Cold Dementor get that one pick on Kiwi, but that was a bit, I don't know, a bit behind the fact, but I'd love to have seen a little bit of adaptation. It does feel a little bit too one-dimensional coming out, but on the other side, flipping the script, I guess going forward into the second half, I don't think FUT have these issues. The composition isn't as flawed, as stunted, and I have a wonderful update. Thank you, producer.
You're spoiling. I can't believe you're
spoiling. You want to wait?
Let's wait.
All right, I'll let it happen.
No spoilers. We don't do spoilers here.
3, 2, 1. Does it change? Does it change? Are we going to update it?
Surely the overlay is ready.
There we go. Woo! Tech pause. Sorry, I did almost spoil it, and honestly, that's on me.
Yeah. What a suspense build.
Really?
Yeah.
Really ensnaring the senses. Wow. Yeah, it's super exciting. Love a tech pause on the half. Probably one of my favorites. When do you like a tech pause? Start of the game?
No, I think like second buy round.
Second buy round.
Second buy round where tech pause hits. That's
where you enjoy it.
Or maybe round 2 because nothing's really happened yet. So
yeah, there's nothing to actually talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I do believe we have Sliggy in the house though. We could talk about that. Maybe he's actually added to this. Do you think it's his fault?
Maybe.
He used to be an observer. They often break things.
Yeah,
he's probably been behind the scenes. A little fiddle around.
Maybe the problem is we've got 3 observers here.
Oh my god.
It's just too much.
There's too many of them. We even put Mel on air earlier.
Yeah.
That's...
I'm desperate for the pre-show if you're trying to wheeling Mel out.
Zilbs next week. Oh, we have a
We've hit
treat
the
for
panic
you.
button.
Yeah, they're like, oh, casters are going off script.
Yep.
They're starting to have too much fun. So you know what, for a group of people who are probably not having fun right now, Analyst Desk, enjoy. It's a tech pause leading into the second half.
Thank you very much. Now, why are they pretending like they don't know why there's a tech pause, Vincent? It's Pansy and Hypog. They're the masterminds of tech pauses.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
think
they
that is what we actually should analyze. Like,
Yeah.
what is their idea of blaming that this is not their fault?
I honestly think every single tech pause, even when they're not here, is their fault.
Quickly, was there a tech pause yesterday?
There wasn't a single one.
Not a single one. Who was not
tech
here
pause.
yesterday?
Well,
Well, I can tell you that Michael was still in the UK, so definitely Hypo wasn't here.
to be fair, I mean, I appreciate that they want to give us a bit more time to talk, you know, it's fair enough. I will take all of the time. Give you guys an update at home. The tech pause is due to a game crashing for one of the players, so we're just going to set up again, get back into game, and hopefully get back in due time and not take too long for this. But it is at the halftime, so we do have plenty to talk about.
Yes.
In the beginning, I feel like Koi, we were all sitting here like, ooh, they've turned a new leaf. There's some things going on. But then it kind of fell apart a little bit.
Yeah, completely. Like Shadows going on mid. Like they had some strats, especially for I think those 4 rounds that they caught in a row. And again, it's just Koi feeling good, feeling confident, getting the plans. But it's the moment that football is actually the FUT asked for that timeout. Things change and they do not know how to respond, and it's not until round 11 that they finally managed to get another one. Again, I think that this is mostly a highlight for FUT. Probably this is something that we could have not seen in the past. It also has to do with Koi's emotional state. Yeah, probably.
The thing is, right, you've mentioned it perfectly with that flank. You've mentioned it perfectly with the 4-0. This has been a great start for Koi, but ever since that one flank and that timeout came in, everything changed based on the fact that FUT did FUT things. And what is FUT particularly good at? Waiting, patience, and playing solid retakes, denying you in your late XX. And this is something that I briefly mentioned at the beginning. The matter of fact that when you are waiting so long for FUT and you are waiting to make like a 30-second execute, they have so much utility ready to deny you that they're just waiting for you.
All right, you guys, wrong answers only. What's Baba looking at? Wrong answers only.
Financial
a kebab
reports
place
Carmine
to
Corp.
eat tonight.
What? A
Kebab place.
Financial reports of Carmine Corp.
I said wrong answers only.
Oh, sorry.
Wrong answers only. No, but seriously,
There
there's
are
like,
none.
it just keeps going. There's like 8 pages.
No. In every single match, there is a moment that if you go to Barbar's cam, he has like at least 40 pages, and he's just like going over all of them. I am telling you, this technical pause is his thing. He just needs to read through all of them, just imagine.
My favorite is that Minnie's ones are always handwritten. He's got like a book and everything is handwritten. It's not like printed out.
That's great.
So
I wonder what's in there, right? Because we were talking about the new compositions coming in from
Durka
both
go
sides.
kill.
No, I mean for Barbar. I mean for Barbar specific.
Shados go kill. Starkso go kill.
But there's like a lot of we were seeing like images and stuff, you know, like there's something that they have prepared. But is this something that they expected? You know, the hardware and everything else.
The cool part is we first of all figuring that out, but the second part is there anything anti-strat relevant in there? Because I don't believe so. Yeah, exactly. How? It's probably not the case.
I would love it so much if it's just literally like a fan fiction he's reading in his spare time right now.
A fan fiction.
Yeah, because fan fiction,
fan fiction.
obviously, I don't know how much fan fiction you read, Vincent, but I read a lot. And it's not a real book, right? So if you want to bind it into a real book,
you need to send me some.
You have to. Oh, I have so many there, like you will not believe. You have to like physically print it out to get it binded. It's not something that you can just go to a store and buy. So I would love it so much if Barbar is just reading like Guild fan fictions.
Guild!
In his spare time. Yeah,
Guild!
why not? Why
why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
What year is that?
I mean, at least
year?
they lasted longer than Big.
Listen, now that we're talking about Barbar and those pages and the strats and everything, I remember, now that we have Sleegy in the house, I remember one time I went into Sleegy's stream and...
the one time? The only time?
Yeah, the only time.
Yeah, chat, let's get some slug approved.
I love the slugs. I've been having a slug for a long time already, but I remember that there was this one time I asked him, so it was when they did not have an IGL. And after like 5
So the entire time he was there.
Yeah, okay. So I went in because every time it didn't matter if they were winning or losing. Like after round 5, between round 5 and 6, he would ask for a timeout. And I asked him, so what do you do in the timeout? Like, how do you structure if you don't have an IGL? How do you make things work? And he was like, well, I give them a plan for round 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and then I asked for a timeout, and I gave them a plan for round 7.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I feel like Calder is probably won't need that as
No.
much, Vincent.
No, I think Coldamentes, I think he got a lot of praise. I mean, Bonecall was roasting him a little bit in that one video, but other than
Wait, what did he say?
Yeah, he said that he's a little too simplistic and a little overrated.
Ooh.
And the next sentence was, I hope he doesn't
Damn.
hurt me with his big arms.
Oh, he does have big arms.
He does have
He's
big
right
arms.
about that. You can see on the screen right now, you guys at home, of course, they can't really talk to each other
I will
during a
arm
tech
wrestle.
pause. Yeah, they can't really talk to each other during a tech pause, but we have seen in the past where some IGLs talking about how in these moments, they have so many different ideas and thoughts going through their mind. It's difficult to kind of like hone in on one. But to be fair, 7-5.
It was a smiley.
Okay.
The Cole's thinking a lot.
What do you think? What do you think he's thinking about? Wrong answers.
I think he's trying to have a mental connection with Barbara to choose the right place to have dinner again.
Okay, Vincent.
I personally believe he's just thinking about what Barbara would say right now.
What do you think Hypok is thinking about right now? Look at him pacing.
Hypok is thinking right now how beautiful Terminal 3 of Manchester Airport is.
Pacing back and forth. Look at him having a nice time up there.
Look,
yeah.
Trex is concentrated on something. We don't know what it was, but maybe he saw a ghost.
I mean, one advantage of this technical break is that basically there's not this momentum break that we usually see, right? We sometimes say, oh, you know, that technical pause that caused us, that our momentum broke. This is a halftime switch, a 7-5 scoreline, so it's not even that bad.
It is. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not the end of the world. It could be a 9-3, you know? It could
At least he's smiling.
It could be an 11-3
That's
down.
good. That's good. We see smiles. We see laughs on the side of Koi. I think that's great. It's actually, you know, I think it's on FUT that the PC broke.
Yeah,
so probably that's
maybe
what we can see a worried face. But no, this is very chill.
Oh, okay, maybe it was Mr. Farland since he's the one talking, but they look like they are having a great time, Vincent. Look at Kiwi.
The amount of rounds they win, I mean, the confident they are recently, I wouldn't be surprised. To be very honest, one big question I have about all of this. Long sleeve gaming, yes or no?
Long sleeve, is that a team?
I can't, right? Impossible.
It gives me a lot of anxiety. Don't you feel like when you're gaming, like if you have a long sleeve?
I thought that was a team. Like
long sleeve gaming.
Yeah. You know, like yeah. Okay, never mind. No. Okay, so you mean like having long sleeves?
Yeah. But not having a professional player sleeve, you know what I mean?
I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it. No.
What do you mean? Because it screams me like the feeling of having clothes and, you know, touching the desk.
Really?
See, that's the difference between us, because you're actually good at this game. So maybe if I cut my sleeves off, I could be
all right. You don't have to cut them. You can just wear a t-shirt.
No. I'm gonna get a pair of scissors and cut them off.
To be honest, there are enough players who wear sleeves nowadays, get themselves certain mouse pads.
But are those sleeves any special? Because I would like to try
I have them, and I like them, to be honest. I thought they're cringe.
Oh, no, you're a
listen
poser.
to me.
You're
listen to me. Listen to me.
You're the kind of person that just uses it when he's on stream.
No. Listen,
he just uses it to go on stream and just be like, hey guys, I'm such a pro.
I got that gifted from Ovation, and I have to tell you right here, right now, that I thought it is the cringiest and stingiest thing ever. If I want to be like Road to Immortal, the first thing I post with myself is the sleeve on. But I have to say it's surprisingly comfortable and surprisingly good. I would recommend it.
I mean, Mr. Farland's got the anime sleeve. He's got a weeb sleeve, so he's channeling the power of anime.
That's a major buff.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's channeling the power, so that's probably why they're doing
plus
super good.
Sad Boy playlist plus that, easy Immortal, easily Radiant.
Oh, Vincent, what do you mean Sad Boy? What are you on about?
You don't know?
What are you on
What do you
about?
think those anime profile pictures of your 16-year-old Jet Radiance mean, huh?
I don't know, because I don't relate. I just do not have any connection to 16-year-olds.
I feel insulted. I feel offended by this. I don't know what you're trying to do. Honestly, I'm just mad that Tampog are forcing me to have this conversation with you, Vincent.
They're just walking.
By like prolonging the tech pause right now. They were saying to me in my ear that someone's PC crashed. But it's a someone's PC crash.
What if Hypok's PC crashed?
I might accidentally ripped out the wires of one of the players. But this is a good sign. I think we are actually getting closer to going back into game. Can you believe it?
It's going to be very intense. I mean, I agree with you, Vincent. At least it's good that this happened during the halftime and there's no momentum breaking. If someone, you know, forgot their homework, this is like the moment you have 5 extra minutes before the teacher comes in, before the exam. Okay, what were we supposed to do here? How do they play? Complicated.
I mean, Baba's read a whole freaking novel during this tech pause. Yeah. I would love for us to go back and check in to see what he's doing.
Does he still read? Is he keeping on reading?
No, I think
he's still reading.
We saw a shot of him not reading, so I think he's actually read everything. Shout out to the fans as well. Shout out to the fans in the Coliseum. You guys are here every week. Y'all the best. Yes, you. in the beanie.
What does it say?
Shout out to
On your phone?
Ah, that was
shout out
Lucker.
to you.
That was
Shout out
Lucker.
to you. Oh, well, some Fnatic jerseys, of course. Fnatic, they are playing a little bit later against Liquid. I think a lot of people are looking forward to that game as well.
That is kind of funny because, you know, I see a lot of great signs and everything. Last week, there was somebody in the Coliseum who had a sign with all my emotes on here. Unbelievably.
But your emotes.
Yeah. Like, you saw the Valorant? You saw
I feel like you're the only person that enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You saw the Valorant kind of banner? Did you see that? No, okay, never mind. Never mind then.
I was
It's
too busy
okay,
watching the
Vincent.
game.
I tried. Listen,
I
I
was
just
too
want to
busy
be
watching
nice
the
to my
game.
community. I'm sorry.
I was about to say
Dude,
that
Baba
some
does
people...
not blink.
Oh my god, I thought that the image was frozen.
He actually does not blink. The
He's
man does not need to
concentrating.
blink. Oh my goodness.
Actually, some people do not know if you're in the audience. The coaches are in the boxes right next to the casters. Oh look, we have a Team Wicked fan.
You
Wait,
say that as like
I
it's
know
the-
him. I know him. I know his face.
You say that as if it's the only Team Liquid fans. I think it's going to be pretty 50-50.
Team Liquid has fans?
Yeah, I
That's
think
Jack. Yeah, I know him.
I think it's going to be pretty 50-50 today with the amount of fans. But yeah, Jack, why are you wearing a Liquid jersey, man? I am going to be having words. I'm going to be having words. Oh, what I will say is I played against him a lot, and he is a great Sky player. I don't think I've ever managed to dodge a single one of his flashes. It's actually uncanny.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Cole.
I mean, they're cracking a lot. That's the only thing that I want to see, to be very honest.
What, Coldament having a nice time? That's cute.
I
That's
don't
cute.
understand. Do you understand?
What do you mean you
We
don't
need more
understand?
signs.
I don't understand.
We need more signs. When you say, I'm bringing a sign this weekend. This is
Yeah.
gonna be crazy.
Hey, there we go.
There's some cheering going on. I do believe that we are going to get into the game soon. The Turkish casters too. Shout out to the Turkish casters. They are also having a really nice
I don't
time.
know what's going on.
Their team is winning, which is always great if you for your region. But I believe that we have contractually fulfilled the obligations of talking over tech pause, and it's now once again Pansy and Hypog's turn.
Huh.
What do you mean? It's perfect. The game will be ready in a second's time.
I'm waiting patiently.
Yeah, no, we're fine. It's all good. We've been having a great time. We've wheeled out Stevie down to the stage.
Yeah,
You know it's gone bad when they've wheeled him out
Yeah.
midway through a game.
yeah. But I'm also thankful
We love Stevie. He keeps the crowd going.
that they can hear him and not us.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
honestly, thank you for that. So just a heads up. So the game score in the game, here we go. In the game is correct for the players. You at home get to play along with the guessing game, probably for this round, and then it'll update. It is 7-5 as it stands. Don't sweat. I'm sure you won't panic. We don't overreact here in Valorant.
It's foot copium. That's all it is.
Because they need more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were obviously
do.
struggling
Yeah.
with that nice string around. But nice work, Analyst Desk. So that fill was very curious. We had anime sleeves and fan fiction.
I mean, throwing to them really actually blew up in our faces, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it
We
did. It did.
caught a lot of the backlash there.
Yes.
Fast start to the pistol round, though. Kiwi doing something Koi never considered, actually. A little bit of pressure towards mid here.
What's that?
Kiwi did burn up everything. It still has 450 credits. I'm not sure if that's a missed purchase or what. Or it'll make sense for the operator to purchase early on. Have to wait and see.
Ooh, lovely work off the back of that Prowler. Really enjoyed that. Wolfen happy to put his life on the line, though. Will overstep almost. Not going to get much more, though. Timing good for Stark, so... Had to hit that. Gotta hit that one. Colementary Shados, though. What are you going to do with it? Time ticking. It ain't in. All right, fair enough. Scoreline should update. Should.
This is beautiful as well. Just to note, actually, the precision on FUT's utility to create just a little channel behind that one kind of column that sits underneath rafters. Again, as soon as that plant comes through, throw up a second piece of utility to create a box that allows them to reset away. If you actually look at this and you have an opportunity to see this, again, Koi have to stand behind this. And again, it's unfortunate Stazo should get two. Usually, you'd expect him to get two in that scenario,
yeah.
but actually, don't take anything away from how precise that execution actually was.
It was very nice to get them on the side, to get the little backside
Yeah.
control. Really quite lovely.
There's very few options for Koi there.
Yeah, you're rocking a hard place, right? You have to either win the fight or Prowler there or any of the other variables that are coming through. Scoreline is 8-5. 8
Maybe.
to FUT. I've made a tally,
Okay,
Michael.
okay.
I've been tallying because I can't count. and 5 for Koi. So ignore what's at the top if you are just tuning in. Apologies for that. I'm sure someone is working feverishly to get it fixed.
We'll take another break in a minute.
Yeah, probably. And we have the Sheriff's Stinger for Coldamenta, and that's about it, really.
A ruse, though. You see the progress elsewhere, and yeah, just jumping on board with it. Modge and Captain have themselves a wide open B site here.
Oh, yeah,
now, I think the penny dropping, Shados looking back this direction, anticipating a lurk. Again, you've got to assume the obvious that somebody's capitalized on this gap in the Koi defense. And there you go, confirmed.
Lovely. That's really nice as well, considering that's an anti-eco. Keeping the heads about them, easy to be almost bullish in approach, right? Like be almost too committed to just taking on that A side, but lovely little fake coming out there. 3-2 split on it, and then eventually fell back. Tap on the spike, and the first parts of utility starting to be invested. Coldamenta, though, going to find out a captain. So a challenge towards yellow. Now this is where it could get dicey, the reveal being the Death Stalk, so now puts it back down to really what looks like insurmountable odds, and
we got that adjustment for a second there, but it's actually fallen to find it. Nice approach here from FUT, like you said, just to mitigate any risk, pull that rotation nice and early, and already have 2 members in position to capitalize off the rip. Find that space on B site. Koi come back into this. The only real notable purchase would have been the Stinger from Coldamenta, but Light Shield, full utility regardless. Koi have been opting towards these Light Shield purchases, so do have a little bit of flexibility, unlike some other teams, in the 4 buy rounds to make sure they can capitalize and have everything that they need to approach a round like this.
And again, I like this pace change. I love that they're happy to throw in this variable and allowing Kiwi to kind of be that pressure point. Now they have to be hyper diligent of middle. It does throw a little bit of a spanner into the works. On the other side, though, aggression being toyed with or space being taken. Stark's so happy for it and does get rewarded. Good trade, though. And he's gone back and forth. And now the problem is that FUT actually, in a 3v3, looked pretty good for
hit so early.
How did he get here so fast? And now the site's all theirs. Safe plant going to come in. No one can really have any threat to life in this. And now the post plant, what do we have? A little bit more bite to it. Captain still has utility to play with.
Again, this 2 for 2 doesn't really favor Koi in any way at all. It just so happens that Atta's managed to backfill that pressure perfectly. Kiwi in a position really to seal the deal here. Wall's going to go up. Actually, a little bit of space for him to swing ahead of this, but it's a wide open plant and nest.
Tap on the spike. There's the first safe one coming in. And comfy for Kiwi. That was lovely combination work between the two. And Shados does find Fallen, but he has no say towards the spike here. Caught in the back. And Kiwi gonna punish.
Kiwi's up to like 19 and 7, by the way.
Is that correct overall? Just want to double check because of the reset barracks.
Maybe.
Quietly,
stuff now 19 and 7. I'll give it to her. The way he's playing in some of these rounds.
It seems right.
Yeah.
That's fine. I was like, wait, hold on. It is 10-5 as well. Scoreline still drastically incorrect.
Look how quick this is. You can just knife out running towards it. And the Nanoswarm didn't even remove the turret and kitchen. I had my eyes on the minimap there.
Just say.
Yeah, the Nanoswarm pops, I think, expecting the turret placement to be in the window and not actually deep up on the shelf inside kitchen. But yeah, Atcatton's just knife out running through the poison orb in mid. That's how he's there so quick.
I guess that makes more sense. I was questioning how he was basically challenging at screens at that point, but here we go. Full purchase on either side. As best they can achieve. And this is quite the pivotal round. 10-5 hit, 10 for FUT, Koi with 5, and a scrappy challenge. I mean, unlucky to a degree. Coldamenta going to walk away the loser in that affair, but now that opens up opportunities. They've stripped away that safety in numbers. They are going to have to now respect that additional player who's a bit more dedicated, Shados, towards B.
And unfortunately, you do start asking the same questions that we did in the first, which is, if somebody's going to challenge first on Koi, there needs to be layers behind it to make sure that this util-heavy composition and approach to the game is protected. That right there is the sort of first blood you never want to see, ever.
Well, luckily, Shados, quite nasty. Going to find out a captain. That's going to bring back down to this 4v4, highly showcasing that this B site is the end goal. Do they commit towards this? They've got 30 seconds. And if they're just running it, I mean, oh my word, Trek's in a good spot for this one. Gonna find Fallen, and he's got
support.
Too late
already.
Yeah, the time's gone. Spike's down.
Attacker spawn.
And Kiwi, I mean, he can pop off and maybe find one, but even then, finding the other two, not going to happen. This is lovely.
10
A little bit
seconds
of a response, mostly in the hands of Shados there, finding that second kill, kind of bringing it back in. Beautiful work. But dicey choices being made. I almost wanted to see FUT try and scrap it out on the site, potentially.
Well, absolutely. With that kill coming through so early on and it being Cold Menta, that actually opens up the round for them. It removes so much stall in terms of the snake bites, in terms of that initial wave that Koi are looking to invest on the spike being tapped. So yeah, really curious to see that, because that comes very early on in the round, and then here you see the timer, 20 seconds. FUT are trying to scramble back across mid when you've got to assume Koi are either under tube, or they're ready for the rotation to come regardless.
One of the two, right? It's a scramble. It wasn't the best look we've seen from them, but I'll give them a round. They can have a round where they don't look absolutely on the money. For now.
It does rip away the economy, though, FUT.
It does. Yeah, they don't have much behind this, do they?
I mean, Bladestorm to offset it potentially. Mod's a little concerned down at 550, but he's got the lockdown. He's not necessarily going to be front-lining. If they do force him the next, scrap that. He's invested in now.
Here it goes. It's pulled everyone here. Now, what do they do with this, though? This is almost a little bit one-dimensional in approach. And Koi can reinvest utility, start spamming. This hasn't given them as much safety towards the side as maybe they'd like it.
So Cougar's been invested as well, so really concerning for FUT to actually convert this into a post plant. But lots of util dumped towards site here. Koi's inventory definitely suffering after that.
Another attempt.
How long does this wall stay up?
And they've got it. Okay, Trex did draw blood at the same time, and a captain has gone down. See how the post plant is with 4. Cracks, Kiwi, fall into Moj. Gonna lose out a little bit of that back line, and the fight's good from FUT though. Finding 3 kills quickly in succession. A tap on the spike will draw the utility, but time starting to dwindle. Starkzo needs that fight, wins it, but they lose out on Shados in the meantime, and now 1v2.
Don't worry.
Another tap to try and draw the attention. He gets one, but only one. Moj, the final line of defense, will keep the round on their side, 11-6.
I don't know how they get away with that plant. Again, initially, perfect approach from Koi. The snake bite comes in, the nano swarms popped at the same time, obviously to make sure at least there's some chip damage done, but Mr. Fallen gets away with an open plant in the corner.
Surprising.
Yeah. Again, perfectly timed as well. That contingency's in place, which is what we didn't see from Koi in the first half.
Yes.
There is definitely a plan B or a plan C to some of these hits. Because I was even saying, the Cougar's been invested way ahead of FUT even getting onto site.
Yeah, that was when the kind of Hunter's Fury was running around. Like
I think it was as the lockdown was still.
Yeah, it was. It was before the Hunter's Fury. So we kind of went over towards yellow and it was already gone. So yeah, a very different kind of, I guess, tempo to how they're trying to draw this out.
But the plan B works.
It does.
And that's what didn't work for Koi.
Yes.
It was all of it from Koi riding on that first plant happening.
Yeah, and it almost, it's quite brutal to watch because it just runs out of steam, and it's so clear. Because then you have the soulcast moment, where you just have whichever player was attempting it, probably dead. No one's really there because they may be sitting a little bit deeper. Anyway, yeah, it was pretty flat. Now, at this point, we do have a actual timeout, team timeout, little tactical, not technical. Yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of, that's on me. But again, maybe trying to come up with a concept here. There's still a little wiggle room. It's not a lot, but there's, there's maybe a chance to close the scoreline a bit here.
Maybe, yes. Again, FUT on 11, and actually this is where you do question the purchaser. Cold Menta potentially just going to bring a Judge or a Spectre in with that Viper's Pit in the next.
Yeah.
The buy a little off kilter here. Shados forced all the way down, Light Shield and the Sheriff in here. So they want to... Doing the numbers here, Stars are actually opting for a Stinger over the possibility of purchasing... I mean, quick math, Light Shield, Guardian, Spectre at least with the full shield. So a little off kilter. Again, he sets up Buddy, somebody plays for that trade and gets an upgrade regardless, won't be too concerning. That's not what you want to see when the purchase comes through here.
What's that?
It's a pointless Viper's Pit, that's what that is.
What the hell is that?
Denying space, denying very deep space towards Snowman.
I'm baffled. All right, just throw them all in. Throw them all in. One of them will work. All right. Lockdown. Gonna force them away, but we did see an early position from Moj towards middle, so that could be something to look towards. There he is, finally showing. Cove goes down, Spam comes in, and actually they're just still on the view. Starso yet to be denied. Still gonna be going through with this. What the hell just happened? Huh?
He didn't get it.
What? There's no way he didn't get that. That was absolutely on the money. How did he not get that? Mike, how did he not get that? How was that happening?
The bar was full.
It was full. It was full. The bar was full. I'm not seeing things. The bar was full.
I mean, if we get a replay on just how close that was,
Please,
because
slow it down and show me it again, because that bar
with
was
the initial spam as well, though, FUT like, yeah, there's no way somebody's sticking it behind that, because I've spammed an entire mag into the wall.
Kiwi was looking at him. Please.
It's here, the reset. Oh my God. Well, that's gut-wrenching for Koi, because that's the one they invest into, and like I said,
that was the fight round.
You come into the next round now, no Viper split.
Face your fear!
And a rocky purchase, and FUT have the upper advantage in terms of this approach to A site as well.
Yeah.
No respect for the null command.
Zero. They're just powering through. They could not care less. Spike gonna be going down. Don't think there's anything to stop it. Nope, absolutely not. Backline though gonna be challenged. Mosh. Good for the first, but the trade comes in from Morphin. Needs to kind of follow this up, and it's such a fight. Look at it. So brutal. FUT gonna fight their way in and leave just two alive. Trex and Starzo. So, come on, Kiwi.
They can't use the knives on the rope.
And it's done for. Cracks to sign it. 13-6 in the end there. I just...
Confirmed by production.
I gotta say though,
I'm impressed again with FUT.
Yes,
they continue to impress.
They keep doing well.
Concerning from Koi, I was excited to see a different composition, maybe seeing what we have seen from FUT actually across the entire map pool that they have demonstrated, which is, like I said, I attribute a lot of FUT success recently is the way they started to approach Lotus.
Yes,
and then
was
seeing them carry across some of those disciplines to other maps. That's why I was excited to see this from Koi to say, actually, yeah, we've got something that doesn't feel like something Koi have often leaned on. The Sage comps historically, again, it was out, but this approach almost felt dated with the new meta Icebox comp, which is just really strange to see.
It's a bit bizarre. Overall, though, I'm just impressed by FUT. I keep waiting for it to go wrong because that's what's kind of happened, but they continue to do well. However, obviously this is a best of 3, so you do want to stick around for that map too. I believe it is going to be Ascent, so that's going to be quite nice. Turkish teams on Ascent though.
Hey, like I said, I feel like whatever happens, FUT won this veto, seriously. Because we got Ascent, and then if we need it, Lotus.
Okay, yeah, that's a problem. Anyway, we are going to go to the break, and the desk will be back with you in just a moment. Do not go anywhere.
Woo! Helal. Nice oğlum, çak. Oh, korkuttun beni. Nice!
Red Bull gives you wings.
Zero distraction. Zero doubt. Zero opposition.
unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's Yang. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
It is a good day to be a Turkish fan. FUT, they take the first map in this best of 3. I'm your host, Su, and I'm back here with Cougar and Zesh. It was a little bit buggy here and there, that map, but regardless of that, and regardless of the tech pause, after that, somewhat of a slow start from FUT, it was just all them, all the way through.
I think I'm very happy with the performance that we've seen. I think that they got them in the bag. I, again, do not think that Koi expected them to pick Icebox and do it in the way that they did. I think that Mr. Fallen was insane. I think that they had it prepared. I love the fact that they prepared so well for this week because it means so much for them to be getting these wins and be in everybody's mouths.
And it is exactly the FUT that I like to see all the time. There was no over-aggressing, unorthodox, overly achieving, overarching kind of FUT. It was exactly the team that I liked when it comes to being calm, being collected, and playing together. And this is, for me, the recipe to success. If once more applied to Icebox, it worked perfectly.
Yeah, and just one duelist on the whole server, but just not just any duelist. Kiwi, I feel like in the first half, he was just doing his job of having that operator on the defense, being Kiwi. But then on the attack, Vincent, the Kiwi we know and love, I feel like he dominated that entire map.
But that suits really well to this team, right? If we particularly consider that he mostly is shining more on that attack simply to the matter of fact that his teammates, when the last second executes from their opponent coming in, are doing a lot of the job already with utility. He was holding it up when coming in. We saw it particularly when we look at Yellow, where most of his entire frag movie is coming from. But at the same time, it is a great system that does not really allow him, so to say, to do much out on defense, but that's a different key on attack.
But I think it's a good thinking for him because I think that Koi found out that they cannot attack on B. I think that they were very frustrated onto A, being like, okay, Kiwi's not going to be here, it's going to be easier. And Kiwi was, as you said, staying in yellow, playing on B, playing what we had to be doing. He didn't need to be the star.
And how many double kills would you see from him at yellow, right? That was crazy. And at the same time, that is the worrying aspect also, that there was no obvious solution there from the side of Koi when, let's say, for example, a simple cascade could have fixed that.
Yeah, and also, as with Icebox, since this map has come out, if you have a good Jet player on your team, it's like life on easy mode, you know? You don't really even need to overthink things. But not just that, Bayek, because if we go all the way back to what happened in round 5, as well, when things weren't looking good for FUT, but they did turn it around.
Yeah, exactly. This is the round that started that comeback, and I wanted to take a look because of the execute the Koi is going to try and start here on A. This is right off the bat of a pause, and we can see that Harbor utility that is going to be fighting between the both of the sides. Now, we see that 0 point that is going to prevent him from getting any kind of moves. But as we see, Kiwi on B. He knows that nothing is happening there. We see Mosh taking a little bit of care onto mid. And it's on the second tempo where they decide, okay, we know exactly what they are. We hear the drone. We know they're not here. And they decide to go again with another Cascade and then a Prowler to go for a position that Trex has been playing in the past. They get the perfect kill. And as Vincent said, calm and collected, we go back. There's nothing else that we need to do here. The only one that can keep that position is Kiwi. Holding on from yellow. We see this wall coming from Starkso that needs to do, you know, a little bit more of learning into how to use the harbor, how to get the good curvature. Because Mr. Falling, who, by the way, was great on it, already knows how to move around it. He's supporting the Viper wall onto A. And it's just a round that Koi cannot get. Simple adaptation, but very well played from FUT.
And this is also where the Fate comes in, right? This could have not been necessarily played like that with the Soba in the same fashion as the Prowler, significantly more faster than the drone, and where such a play comes in perfectly. It was something we criticized at the beginning. We were like, I'm not really too sold on that because it sometimes can be more, you know, of a burden than helpful, but it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like there was a big hole, a big mistake in the setup of FUT at all.
I mean, the pause was miraculous in its timing as well, and I don't think we talk about it enough. A shout out to the FUT coaching staff as well. They definitely have a lot to do when it comes to these adaptations that you guys speak of, and the fact that they managed after one pause to make this a 7-5 and then end the map the way that they did, you know, hats off to the coaching staff.
All I'm going to say, Gas is a great guy, but they also have an assistant coach that's from Latin America, and Inter is great. So, you know.
The buff.
Yes.
The buff. That's the real buff there. You mentioned already of the harbor utility. Somewhere out there, Lothar is molding right now.
Of course. I
you
can
know,
hear him.
the last time when we saw Mixwell play harbor on Icebox, there was a couple of wars that went out. We weren't sure if he missed his war or it was intentional. And it felt like today we were setting this up. Like, we don't want to see that again from Starkso and Mr. Farlin. But for Starkso, there were moments. There were definitely moments where we weren't quite sure.
Yeah, I think that it has to do with what we talked about before the match started, being like, yes, Starkso is a very flexible player, but can he do it? Oh, can he do it at the top of his level?
Yeah, and the thing about this agent in particular is that his utility might be very straightforward, but particularly this one right here on A, where you would usually expect that also the entrance to heaven. Exactly, you could usually also curve it a little bit and get the heaven control. But that didn't happen.
I mean, he has the Cascade, and you know that he uses it to cover the CT because he's like, you know, I just wanted to use it that way. Maybe he wanted to combo up a little bit, but there was no need for that to happen.
I mean, I feel like on the attack side, Mr. Farlin, there was also one occasion where maybe it wasn't bang on, but it definitely
was insanely close.
It definitely wasn't as, I guess, egregious as maybe the one we saw on the other side.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you can see from the outside that FUT knew 100% that this is what they wanted to do with Koi. This is where they wanted to take them.
Yeah, and that was the surprise pick. And the one that you said that was going to give FUT maybe a way to push it over the line. But the next map, I don't know how it can somehow get scarier because that Icebox is very, very dominant. And we're going to Ascent. We have a Turkish team on the server, but this was Koi's pick.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's because of the experience that they've gathered throughout these days. Maybe not the best, and also they've they found some kryptonite on the other side, and it's the Viper. They have been, struggling against that, and definitely last week they could not play against it.
And I think also they're trying to catch FUT off guard, right? The result that we've recently have been seeing on the map was a 6-14 loss against Team Liquid. Nothing worked out there at all. So with the comfort that we've recently seen, the kryptonite you've mentioned, their success against Na'Vi, maybe they're like, you know what, we could potentially catch them off guard on that map. But at the end of the day, we have to come back to one thing. It is a Turkish team on Ascent. I know it's such a broken record, but it matters.
I just want to see what Atacapton is going to be playing, because I think that since you have those two, and probably can expect what Koi is going to do with the map veto, they read them so good that I expect a new composition, maybe bring in the Viper and maybe shut them down. The next question is, Koi picking this map, are they going to change something out? Because Wolfen was moved onto that Sova. So many people were saying during the between lock-in and the regular season, is Trex going to be playing more on the duelist? Is Wolfen going to back out? Well, now he has. Is this a plan that is going to be ongoing, or are they going to stop just at Icebox?
I think particularly considering a map like that, where an operator still plays such a pivotal role, I think it would be a waste is the wrong word, but it would be odd to see him not picking up that kind of duelist role again. At the same time, I see where you're coming from with what we particularly seen on Icebox. Oh Lord, how old is that?
Coda Mentor on Jet. Do it. Do it. I want to see it.
He's not Angel.
I want to see it. I mean, there's two things to break down here. On the side of FUT, like you said, normally so far in VCT EMEA, Mouge would step in on this map, and he plays some of the agents that we don't really see Atta play. But in this instance, we've been given the update that Mouge is not playing any of the maps anymore for the rest of the season. Atta will play every single map. So what realistically can Atta play here?
I think the Viper. I think the Viper would be very good for the composition if they want to do for a different kind of execute. I think that there's so much that they can learn from Giants, that they can learn from Na'Vi on this map, and how to use it and how to read onto Koi. I don't think is going to be the hardest act. Also, Atta still hasn't lost a single map here.
Yeah, but he hasn't played Ascent yet. And obviously, Mouge was playing a lot of Sky. That was kind of his thing.
So this would bring us to single initiator then.
I'm not mad at it.
I like the Viper. Listen, I find the Viper super cool on this map. And when we particularly think Krax plays the KO on this, it's all right. It's doable. It is a bit of a swap that you could do. I would be surprised if Captain now moves on Sky. It seems odd. I think it is an agent that you need to perfect to be really good at it. It's not just you can play it that easily. So I would say the Viper would be nice, but I wouldn't be surprised if they overhaul the entire comp.
Ooh, I mean, yeah, I think we can see it either way. And then for the other side, for Koi, Wolfen, I thought he looked pretty comfortable on Icebox despite the scoreline on the Sova. It's something that he's played so many times, so we would expect that. But not having a Jet, like you both said, or a duelist of some type on Ascent, feels kind of troll.
It would be.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. I mean, just a little bit. I think that what we also want and expect from Koi is to change a little bit of the default, because I didn't see much difference between the game that I saw versus Na'Vi and the one that I saw versus Giants. You know, that we use this exact 3 pieces of util here on B. That means we're rotating onto A. That actually costed them winning the pistol and losing the round after that just because of that.
Well, we're going to head into Agent Select soon, but first, let's see how our players did in the Ninja Diffuse Challenge. I think this was a couple of weeks ago.
I love
this one. If you guys haven't seen this video, it's a great piece of content. Check it out.
So I have to defuse the bomb. Okay, gotcha.
You want me to start at the perfect time? Okay.
Now it's getting planted, right? Yes, okay.
Close?
Too far?
I'm even
close.
No.
Daha varmış. daha varmış. Yanlış yazmışız.
Oh. Yeah, it's maybe way too early.
That was super safe.
I could do better. I panicked.
Oğlum hızlanınca aklımdaki süre gitti ya.
You know that I was trying like to count the beep beep all the time, but then bomb going tip 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 tip.
Good. 1 second. Okay, that's fine. That's fine for me.
Feeling.
What, exploded already?
I was chilling, so you know.
It's actually so unfair. What can Leo not do? Come on.
I'm more
Shows
worried
up.
that Call of Messe was diffusing
It
delayed.
was even on ascent. If you saw that spike on the left side, it was an ascent on A, and I was like,
In fairness, Cold is not always the last person alive to be able to defuse. So that
Wow.
might. No, but I'm not flaming. I'm just saying that like no.
I mean, I think there's
He's
a
not
reason
kind
why
of the-
Angel's not even in the video. Like they didn't even consider him.
Because you know, Shao is the clutchy player. He's probably had to defuse like a bajillion times. So
True, fair point.
it makes a lot of sense why he's in there. But to bring it back to this, as we head into Agent Select soon for Ascent. In the beginning of the day, it felt like both of you were kind of leaning towards that 2-0. Are you still feeling that way now?
Yeah, definitely. But because of the comeback that they have performed on Icebox, I think that Ascent is more than doable. I am concerned though about their attack inside, but that will be on the second half. If Koi, you know, keeps being in the same mental state, it's going to be very difficult for them to pull it back on the defense.
I'd be just very curious to know what the mindset of Koi is coming into this map, because overall not too many things speak for taking this particular map against FUT, but considering what the recent results were and things like that, I could imagine that that is the thought process. At the same time, it seemed like a one-time sort of slip-up, and FUT probably got a lot cooking on this map, because it has not been too popular towards the last few months from them.
I mean, after the pick and ban phase, they must be able to foresee that this is somewhere that Koi might want to go. So, you know, the preparation phase you guys are talking about, they have had a week. It would be kind of, like Doombro said, it would be an advantage for a team to just shake it up because you know that everyone's prepping against you. But what is the must-see from you guys? What is something that you don't want them to stray away from? Something that you just don't want to see a change when it comes to both of these teams? I'll start with Koi because they picked this map.
So I think that, especially thinking of the head-to-head Jed duel, I think that I would like to see Wolf in there. I would like to see him confident on it. One of the key reasons why Team Liquid won against them is because they had Safe. You know, Safe being safe lately. I don't know what's gotten into him, but he loves being a duelist. We love him being a duelist. And I think that Wolfen needs to step up and maybe try and do things just, you know, set him free a little bit. I think that we have so many star duelists, but it's not the case for Koi. We were talking about how he needs to be guided. He needs to be, you know, grabbed by the hand and be like, okay, let's do this, do this. And sometimes, well, most of the times, it's not working. So maybe giving him the freedom, I was like, just go crazy. Just do something. Let's see if it works.
Exactly. This was my thought process. I don't like this word because it's pretty much on the analyst desk bingo card, but I want a confident Wolfen. Because the matter of fact is, we saw last year what this man is capable of, what he can do, and this freedom to be not that much in a system where he might be just having restrictions here and there, that would be amazing because his individual capability exists.
Let him off the leash.
Yes,
let him
please.
off the leash. I like it. I like it. His name is Wolfen, you know? You gotta let the wolf off the leash sometimes. But what about FUT? Because maybe the result wasn't the best, you know, the last time we saw them on this map. But is there something that you feel like they don't really need to change?
I think that the defense was exquisite. I think that the executes were lacking in a lot of things. I think that, you know, Safe was just doing a very, very good job. It's not easy to go against Nats on Ascent on A when he's playing on Cypher. I don't think that anybody wants to be on the receiving end for that. But I don't think they're going to find, you know, that much of an opposing force in the shape of Koi.
The particular part is obviously that right now this change brings one advantage to FUT, and that is a firepower upgrade. Our captain is the second best player of FUT within their team. And also, the top 10 one of the two top 10 players they have in this entire league.
Yeah, but that's
what
a little bit unfair.
metric? What metric are we
ACS.
Okay.
Yeah, but that includes the fact that he hasn't lost a map and the rest have.
Yeah, fair. No, it's fair.
So,
it's fair.
Technically,
right.
he should be the first.
But I see your point. But I still believe that at the end of the day, it is a great upgrade. And, you know, for some teams, the 6-man roster works. It is seemingly a thing that more the Pacific teams lean into. And I think right now sticking to one team, one composition, one kind of theory seems to be the FUT way of doing things. Because I don't know how you see it, but I think FUT is a team that plays simple Valorant, not overly extravagant Valorant, but good Valorant.
I think we're going to a third map. I think I want to think.
Wait,
that,
what?
Yeah.
You just
Listen.
What happened in the last 30 seconds?
Yeah. I know. Listen, a part of me wants to keep seeing this FUT that is just amazing, that they've improved so much, that week to week they're just delivering. On the other side, I need to see some changes on Koi. Like, I don't know what's gotten onto Heretics and them in particular.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if we talk about the Spanish teams, right? You have Giants that went against the 2 Titans on week 1. Week 2, they smashed Koi.
True.
Yeah, everything. Like, it's just going down to just, you know, get the buff and just go up. I need to see something similar from Koi. It's just a little bit jarring to see that good of a performance on day 1 and then just downhill.
Well, you might see it on Ascent. This is their map pick, and we have Agent Select coming up. Wolfen is the first one in line, so we'll know if he's going to be sticking to that duelist role, and he will be.
Lord.
Absolutely! Oh my god, that is the last thing that I expected Atta to play.
And Coldamento swaps also start, so goes back to the Omen. That is crucial. And Trex is on the K. All right, this is not the biggest of surprise, but double duelist.
Listen, double duelist is the first time that he even plays a duelist. That's what we're talking about. Exactly.
He hasn't even played anything close to a duelist.
No. He's a smoker, support, a little bit of flash. No. Well, I mean, this is something that was not in my bingo card, Vincent.
I mean, they must have taken that attack side failure so personally that they thought that they needed to bring in another duelist. I mean, also changes on Koi.
Listen, I just want to, if FUT is to win, I need you, Yinsu, to ask about this thought process. Last week, they surprised us with the Gecko. Now Atta going on the race. Something's going wild.
Evet kanka, I'm going to brush up my Turkish just for that. I can't wait to get into this game and see what Pansy and Hypok make of this.
Well, there's plenty to be said, isn't there? We've now got a little bit of a switch up coming through the double duelist, Mike. What do you make of it? Has it caught your eye, or is it something?
Definitely caught my eye.
Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately, ever the cynic.
The pessimist is
it's here. Concerning for Wolfen, because now there's a lot more frontline pressure from and that again, not necessarily the last map. The one that sticks out in my mind is the Giants game, where Koi had a very close affair on Ascent, but Wolfen was lacking behind. And again, the numbers don't always reflect the value that Jet is getting you, but there were so many scenarios where it was just
not there.
I think I had a conversation earlier with Lucy where you're talking about the history and what kind of concerns keep rearing their head, and it's something that actually stuck out from some of Guild's approaches with Safe on the Jet, and the question we kept coming back to, which is spacing. What the hell is going on from a macro standpoint? So that's what initially has caught my eye, and it's definitely going to be exciting to see a double duelist approach here. Of course, as a Turkish team to roll it out on Ascent. I'm really excited to see Atta Captain actually unleashed here, because like I said earlier, he has been,
what you got.
for me, the headliner.
Oh, he's nasty with it. His mechanical capability, phenomenal. The way he plays the game looks really good. He has been their X factor in my eyes.
Kiwi's been exciting. Atta Captain's been over-delivering.
Yeah, Kiwi, we always knew he could hit, right? Like, Kiwi was always that, like, get him on the right agent, right map, da-da-da, all kind of lines up. The guy is a god. And a captain, I want to see how he fits into this role. Not really been able to see this
Just early
test,
progress.
But yeah, wow, okay. they've decided they want half of the map to themselves, and they've already gone walkabouts. Big clear here. Do they catch anyone through mid? Oh, the turn. Goldamenta, his spidey senses were tingling, but it doesn't matter because he's dead. Spidey's dead. Well, that hurts. And they've got a double stack still towards the back of Boathouse here. Paranoia is going to be sent through, so that's going to allow at least Wolfen to step towards the side. Moj should be dead. Moj is still not dead. He's dead now. Okay, they cleared the second player as well, so Boathouse is now safe. They do get a plant. Paint shot going to go in, and it's going to find Wolfen. Meantime, Trex gets the trade. They're going back and forth here to an extent, but Spike's still knocked down. That's pretty big.
That's Captain trying to deal with the turret here, so they have removed some information here. Does the flash come through? Actually does a swing. Perfect from Trex, but no damage.
Oh, the chip damage coming back in, though. Look at Trex, pretty low here. Kiwi trying to chip away, chip them down, find the next step. No, not going to happen. Trex sends them away, and now it's just Kiwi, 1v3. Can he find anyone overstepping? Now all the eyes turn. Nothing being permitted. No overstep. First challenger found. The next two, not so easy to get through. Koi, once again, do get the pistol under the belt.
Well-handed, very decisive as well when they spot out that double flank through on top mid. Again, you can see immediately Koi take advantage of that and look to descend onto B site. And that was something that was missing in the previous map on Icebox. We were just missing that kind of pace, the reactiveness to exactly what was going on. I mean, hitting his wall bang's perfect to remove Goldamenta here, but Koi did well on the site clearance. You're mitigating a lot of that risk of still having two members locked into backside. I'm curious, actually, if this is the trend here. You can see Ad's Captain posted up with a shorty, nice and close. Kiwi with a Sheriff against it is a possibility to do some real damage here. Fallen's got a shorty as well.
Okay. Could be some fun, and just the noise, the bait of it, right? Tempting them into that little bit of a swing around the corner. Wolfen's, I don't know, chilling. Big chilling. Yeah, he's probably dead at this point. Now, Ada Captain probably won't live beyond that moment. Oh, the bait actually doesn't. What?
Okay.
Wolfen with the double how? How did he get Kiwi in that same, like, breath?
That's not how I expected that to pan out at all. Beautiful clearance from Koi and a massive advantage here. And actually removing the Sheriff as well, so outside of Fallen Shorty, it's only classics to work with. Mod's got his hands full here.
Yeah, not looking good. And listen, the site's pretty safe. One of the players sitting towards CT, one towards Market. For FUT, they don't really get that step in. Again, yes, you got a classic there, but for Fallen, it is only that shorty. No TP to play with either.
No chance of him getting a kill,
You're
to be
not
honest.
going to be able to do much. Already down to 33.
Can't even actually retrieve the pistol drop by Moj either.
Trex wants it done.
But now they've heard that he's got the shorty as well.
Ah, there we go. Oh, Fallen. Not a chance in hell. Okay, 5 standing, and they did have that Vandal on Trex. They had the Bulldog on Starkso, and then the SMGs and just the Ghost on.
Deja vu kicking in here. It was
Yeah,
round 2 flawless. Round 2 flawless from Koi. We know how that transpired through the half, but this is such a brilliant clearance here.
God damn, that second shot.
Yeah, really clean from Wolfen. Big positive as well early on. If he can actually stand his ground here versus a hyper-aggressive FUT Esports composition, which, with this round in mind, looks as if it's based around this double duelist setup towards A, and a very passive hold towards B. Curious to see how things progress here. Now, it'll be a little strange to see Mr. Fallen tagged on that knife.
Certainly raise an eyebrow.
I mean, that's future information as well, potentially.
The spike is being left super deep towards spawn, so they're very much testing the waters. No massive commitment to either side here, very much split between the two. Shados going to pop a little bit of utility down as well. Tommy's on the case. And punish. Moj, a little curious to try that. Not sure what the plan was.
Maybe on the back of the knife and hearing the TP, but yeah, then...
It's a solo endeavor.
Yeah,
at best, what do you get? I mean, yeah, I don't like the overstepping around like this when you know, yes, there are a couple of Vandals about, but you know, there's, the Spectres, they're loving that. They've now taken a rifle out of the game. That's perfect. A little bit more chip damage would be obviously ideal. And looking like they're going to just go right up the gut, straight through middle. Identifying some of those players earlier on towards A, enough of an indicator to get that pick, head on in. This now puts a lot of pressure on the likes of Cracks, on towards Kiwi. Spike yet to cross, finally making its way through. And it's going to be Cracks, back in the site, position now noted. Position revealed, and under pressure. He's actually still alive somehow. They've got to deal with him, and they do. Mike, they're making this work.
Trex actually picks up Kiwi as well. Fallen finally responds. A brazen TP attempt towards Switch here. Give Atacaptain the information, but Coldamenta finds his third on the round, and Koi's third round on the board as well.
Got flashbacks again.
Yeah.
Converting bonus, looking quite clean at it. I'm still question marking what Mosh was up to, if I'm honest, Mike.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with it. It's reading into Koi doing what you expect, which is that slow default, but you don't want to feed into that. Again, this dart doesn't scan him, so maybe that's why he's thinking, yeah, he's not going to expect me close, but I don't know, maybe he just thinks the timing's there for him to find the kill. I'm okay as long as if they stick to this game plan of having a weaker B-site hold, you don't want to see challenges like that. Especially now when you see Koi start toying with FUT a little bit, baiting this double duelist setup into digging a little deeper, just off that TP sound at the start of the round. We'll note at least the footsteps here as well. Now, do they think they've got some space to work with here? Stars are good for the first. Actually dips back out, doesn't spot on the jet. Yeah, now he does.
There we go, nice. Now, I'm kind of waiting to see if there's any impact from Fallen, though. He hadn't been seen at the start, but he was noted in the previous round, so wondering if they're waiting for that. Coldamenta not too far away, and yeah, shot now rattles through middle. They've identified, or at least 3 initial players are now, 2 obviously as Atacaptain is down, and Kiwi's punished Starzo on that, so that's a rifle recovered, that's something back in hand. Maybe he can be a problem, as he is going to be on the flank. Problems down the line, Mike.
I mean, the problem being as well, Starzo's so far away from B-side that he can't even put smokes in for his execute. The fact that he dies doesn't really make an awful lot of difference.
Oh, belter of a shot. Need a couple more of those, though. Orphan down, overwhelmed. Cracks his turn. Oh, he's just eaten that flash completely. Koi bringing down the hammer again. Those pistols not finding so much value until now. What on earth is that? Trex deleted. Didn't even need to see him to kill him. Oh, and a pixel out of place. Spots Coldamenta. 14 seconds.
22
Coldamenta
HP, Lauren.
is panicked. He's worried, and the timing's right. Kiwi slips a little further ahead, and Coldamenta takes a glimpse, takes a look, and now his hand is forced. He has to make the play in the time, 2 seconds now. There's nothing left to be done. Incredible work. Kiwi, outstanding off the back of just picking up that rifle.
What is that end to the round? Absolute madness from Kiwi. I mean, this is, again, Starzo so deep, so disconnected from this site here that they're not going to have smokes anyway for another 5 to 10 seconds, maybe. What a cleanup from Kiwi.
That's heroic.
Ridiculous stuff.
Real heroics there. In a round where you start out with just the Sheriff, you just lost the other players on your side, Atacaptain. You over-aggress, you hunt down Starkzo in front of you, you garner that rifle, and bang, you are back in the game. Stunning. Stunning, stunning work.
That's the type of round you watch back and you think, you're kicking yourself. When you're expecting this slow play as well. Starzo positioned, once again, very disconnected. But the fact the operator's in play here, that's the sort of round you expect a little bit of adjustment from FUT.
I have the spike.
Now it should be a massive red light that they've spotted Kiwi in mid here, to be honest. So the fact they're slowly drifting back towards this, maybe the null command being the difference maker, but it's the operator to stop wolfing at the front door.
And it has! Sends him away, just reaffirming that this site is there. Moj now, less pressure. Oh, Trex with over-delivering too there.
Yeah.
Kind of expected maybe an earlier swing from both of them, but
nobody
not
holding
the
the
case.
one way.
Yeah.
And there wasn't even any pressure initially from lane, so how Trex has got through there and then got 2 is crazy. Coldamenta on 5 HP though. This isn't a comfortable hold.
No, it's certainly not. He's going to put himself first here. Shados deeper at the back, digging himself in. Paint shell goes through. Shados is forced to the side. And the captain tries to step forward, finds the first, and now it's all on Shados. This man used to be a monster. He needs to rekindle some of that. And the captain bounds in and sends Shados away. FUT back in this one, closing that scoreline up now.
Unfortunately, again, great placement from the paint show. At the captain already looking fairly comfortable in terms of just the small pieces, in terms of the utility placement. Aggressing at the right times, and this is a beautiful example of it. But like I said, it should be, this is how Trex gets past the one-way. Is there a spam or something coming through on lane? I didn't notice it initially. That first nano swarm goes up, so they have that little offset. They have that ability to think, okay, if anybody does push lane, they're tanking the nano swarm, let's hold the one-way.
Let's switch it up, yeah.
I don't know, maybe just, you know, panic comms, a little bit of off synergy there.
Pace, Mike, hold on. They've switched this up. Gear change. Shados down. Paint shell goes. Wolfen's in though. Again. Blowing down the door. Takes out two. Spike's gonna go in.
Spike planted.
Now time's on their side. Koi, highly volatile on this hit. And the other three trying to work this site back out seems brutal.
Oh wait. At captain got a kill with the paint shell, just throwing it into where the lockdown was going to be placed. Shados just stuck in the corner. Still, a 3v4, a chance to get something done here.
Yeah, but they can't use anything from that flash. They just have to go through the smoke. The one-way's still there. It's so perfectly placed. Cracks try to make something happen.
Problem being as well, Fallen, when he drops, there's no smoke to cover main, and ultimately they have to make something happen before they even get out of heaven.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not to find the kill. Actually onto Wolfen, I think down to 8 HP from the fragment, so that would have probably be something that can turn the outcome of this. But what a crazy start here. I mean, yeah, look where Fallen's caught out. Where's that shot gone? Where's that gone?
Where's? All right.
Because the fact that it's Kiwi, that usually lands.
Normally hits.
Yeah.
Normally hits. Okay, response from Koi this time. So we're not going to have that instant turn of events we saw on map 1 pretty much, whereas good start coming out. Now got a little bit of scrap between the two. This is good. I'll take that. I mean, I think it was...
Well, I'll take it, but one of the comps you don't want to start scrapping with is a comp with a double duelist in it, to be honest.
Sure. Take that, but we'll see. Please clear this with utility.
You do have a drone.
Oh dear.
Well.
No worries.
Yeah, no worries.
No stress. There's still 2 players to get through. We do have the Frenzy there, and I actually think it's just a little shorty sat in the smoke. Yeah. Fallen gonna make a go of it, but no massive impact made.
One enemy remaining.
Spike should be able to be planted. At a captain, this would need something miraculous. 1v4.
Need a Kiwi round.
I've not heard this story before. I've heard a couple. I've definitely not heard the tale of the 1v4 Sheriff 47 HP. Ooh, I was about to be made a liar for a second. Ooh, a little snappy.
3-round gap now, though. Obviously, FUT riding this out. Couple of ultimates and game changers to play with. Cracks also one away from the null command. In that regard as well, with Shadows actually being shut down in the previous round, not able to put his lockdown ahead of that side of it. It didn't even, with the pacing at the start around it, it didn't even look like the lockdown would have been, if anything, detrimental to that side here. So the fact they still have that in play, actually Trex, mirroring Cracks very close to his null command as well. So big round, whether or not FUT choose to invest that into this buy round. Starzo tries to bait the TP once again, doesn't actually avoid detection though.
We might have seen a switch up here. Fallen now noted. Cracks brought in. You can see them all kind of congregating back towards that A site, right?
Yeah, I'm not even sure. Starzo didn't ping anything after results, so I don't know if he spotted Kiwi there.
His first big test here on shore, at least towards Ada Captain. We haven't seen that yet. No, a bit of a miscommunication, or at least a gamble, right? Cracks heading back over towards B. Smoke towards top mid. Looks like they're going to put a flash towards potentially either market or maybe a little bit deeper. It's going to be that burst towards A. Now, we didn't. You were asking to not see that scrap. We might see it. Let's see what they've got in the tank here.
Well, problem being, Caldamenti's used his drone here, and there's an operator ahead of him. Before I can even finish the sentence, he's found the kill. Wolfen now.
He's so alone.
Oh, okay.
Apparently he is nuts. He was on his own, the literal lone wolf. Now he's got support, but Kiwi's still standing, still holding that site. Dips away slightly deeper, holds those deeper lines as he waits for his teammates to get around, and they have. Trex has fallen, it's Starkzo and Shados. And one by one they peek him, and one by one they fall. We asked the question, at a captain, Kiwi, how do they combine? And apparently the answer is very, very well. FUT unmoved in that round, and not too threatened.
The problem being, here, again, the drone investment elsewhere on the map, then we're shift walking into an operator potentially. We haven't spotted Kiwi yet in this round. So you've got to expect that to happen. I mean, if anything, you want to see Starkzo towards main here, or Trex over there with a flash. Starkzo able to TP up high and just make it more difficult for Kiwi. Because I'm fine for the one-for-one trade in that scenario. Fine by me.
Yeah.
Because you remove the op.
Taking the operator away.
You expect a little bit of space behind the operator for you to then execute into.
Yeah. A bit of a mistake in that, and again, the more freedom he gets, they're just working as a pack, and that scares me, because they're going to overcommit to this. They will potentially push this
different
one, or
look as well, yeah, very different look from
which is great, because then again, you can kind of counteract that, counterbalance it with Moj's utility, get a lot more safety towards A, they allow this bit more freedom, and they posted him up. I love this. Kiwi now dedicated towards that B lobby area. He can sit on this as long as he wants, and the rest of the map now gets bolstered. There's a lot of faith in Kiwi, but the way he's been playing, maybe rightly so.
I think somebody almost making a secondary call there. The bait from Wolfen might just keep Atta Captain on this side of the map.
Okay, well, that's the first time we've seen the turret kind of placed there, so that could be a little bit of a telltale sign now.
Well, now at least they know Moj is here with the lockdown as well. So whether or not Fallen's going to maybe challenge, capitalize on this Killjoy setup, have to wait and see. That is a blender to walk into.
Yep, let's see how Wolfen does. He might get past some of it. No, he doesn't. Wolfen goes down pretty quickly as Fallen to check on him. Now the lockdown's there. Time again being soaked.
You should run.
Big kill, but Goldementor straight out, and that's the spike. The rest of Koya towards main.
Oh dear. Moj trying to back away to try and bolster that, support that, and now you can see them just swarming it. FUT trying to get over towards this, keep those bodies around it. Spike back in hand though. 16 seconds. The time is a factor. They've got to get this down and get it down now. Is there anything to deny it? I think they've got a safe plant here. Into the post plant. 3v3. Oh, he's got the spam just right. Kiwi doesn't even see him to kill him right now. He's feeling out this game. He's got cracks by his side, but Shados waiting for that smoke to drop.
How have they got away with that? That is criminal to actually recover that round. The lockdown obviously forcing them away from short. Can't hold on to the spike. But again, with the freebie on the way in, I think Crack still had 2 flashes as well. Actually, on the UI, here's only 1 left, so maybe send him 1 high from tree to make sure the swing from heaven is comfortable, but wow. I mean, yes, FUT have to peel away into mid and make sure that they're playing safe from the lockdown, but nobody's holding that open sight line. Nobody's actually playing towards, you know, the archway in mid to make sure that they can't just retrieve that spike for free.
A little bit of a pace change on that. Trying to find that first challenge quickly. Starkzo happy to give it at least a try. In the meantime, have they identified where Kiwi may reside already? You can see that rotation coming in. They're so happy to leave Kiwi so alone, Mike. It's actually mad how isolated he is.
Yeah, they've opted for this looser B-site hold previously. Obviously, the Nanoswarm set up that dash on. They clear A main nice and early though with the ultimate.
Grounded. My ult's ready.
Let's see what they can do it now. Kiwi gonna find one. Starkzo next in. And again, you can start seeing all of that panic starting to really
not scanned here.
work its way through. They're still on the back of the site. Yeah, Kiwi's still standing, but only for so long. And Moj fell at the same time. So the site is under their control. Trex trying to control and defend it. Leaves the spike a mile away. Not where he wanted it at all. And that re-aggress was just perfect.
And it's almost actually Koi feeding into this looser hold on B. Again, the challenge actually comes way deeper this time around from Kiwi, but it definitely slows things down, buys time for that rotation to come through. I'm curious actually, well, Koi's still in a position to purchase Bladestorm here to offset that Stinger purchase, so you're too worried about that. Trex on the null command, Goldementor nearly back on that Hunter's Fury as well. Big round hit and a big opener. Atta Captain, first time he's really overstepped the mark, Lauren.
a valuable lesson for him to learn. Find that tempo right. We're holding him to such a high caliber. One of his first real games, Kiwi. Similar things on the other side of the map, but he does support here. Starkso, noted by the player actually behind Kiwi. They're working further. Kiwi's hunting him down. Silent work
He's
here.
going to hear this rotation come through.
He's going to at least hear it. One player, two player, and they baited it. They baited it so well. Moj trying to take all the attention. That's one pass. How many does he see? Kiwi sees it all. 1, 2, 3! He's done so much damage to Koi. Wolfen has replied, but it's a 3v2. They're trying to work their way in. He's dead to the turret. And Cole Dementa can only watch.
What is that from Kiwi? Not a single person from Koi turned. Not a single person.
Did they not
beautiful bait.
Where's the jet gone? A little bit worrying about that.
And don't get me wrong, it's a curveball thrown from FUT, who have once again capitalized on this A main aggression. Elemental will be shut down. FUT find their 5th.
Last round.
Should be comfortable in terms of the purchase, though. Questions will be around the utility. This is just so well executed. You see Moj is here, is like, yeah, I've got to go. I've baited as much as I can for you, dude.
This is it. And to be fair to Moj, played it so well.
Yeah.
Really nice. That's going to be a real gut-wrencher to watch back. You think, God, why didn't we think about it? Why didn't the penny drop? Now,
the deja vu's back. Kiwi's at 17 and 9 again.
He's having a game. He's having a game. And it's pacey, though. Look at the hunt from Wolfen. Instantly swatted away, but Cole Dementa got attack on the second. Didn't quite get the follow-up, and Kiwi just in no man's land, and it is just brutal. It's bloody. They're willing to scrap it out with a double duelist now. There'll be no smooth sort of game plan here. This will be a bloody battle, but I think it's just behind where they are. Potentially did a whole lot of damage.
What?
Starkso dead, Shadows dead, and the captain is rolling the site. Ties it all up. 6 apiece. What a game.
What a half of Valorant that was. Ata captain looking so comfortable here in this transition. Kiwi having a lights out performance here. And a number of times it's those two players back and forth.
Yeah.
The bait and switch. I love the adjustment halfway through this as well. It's like, yeah, cool. We've shown aggression towards A main now. Let's switch it up, head towards B. Then they flip back and get away with the trigger discipline round from Kiwi.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff from FUT Esports.
Again, this team continues to impress, and I think the hard part for me is, obviously, we did casting last year before that, and it was always that, okay, when we can see that Turkish, superstar team, when we can see the players come through.
But even when we saw the peaks, it was like, okay, when did this team fall off now? That was always the end of the story. It was like,
oh, well.
Yeah. We're not there yet. FUT's the one, though, for me.
Apparently so. They've got the remedy, but someone else who has something for us is Cougar standing by, so let's head over to her.
I always have something ready for you guys. It was 2021 and it was April, the last time that here in EMEA, we saw a composition with a double duelist in a sense. And there are many reasons for that to not happen again. There was a moment where we saw a little bit of Raze, more back on the Jet. But 2 of them together, again, it's been a long time. So what can we expect from footballists moving on to the attack? If you think of the minimap and also think about how Raze has been nerfed and that Boombot is going to grant you that information but actually not make it that further, you need to think about how FUT is going to be using it. Usually, and what we can gather from the game that they played against Liquid, they managed to dive in the map using a trident, and it would be Sky, KO, and Jet moving all together. It doesn't matter if it was on mid, A main, B main, the 3 of them together. But now that we have Raze, maybe getting a little bit more into those sides and actually putting the pressure, adding on to how Ada is feeling and Kiwi is feeling secure. I want to see something else from FUT. I don't want to see the 5-man pushes that they were doing in a lot of the rounds. I want them to see the freedom and maybe spread out a little bit more on the map. But you know, guys, this is just me thinking about it. How about we go and see it?
Plan, isn't it? Let's see it in action. A lot to hope for there, Cougar. How dare you ask such high amounts of high-quality gameplay from them. No, I'd love to see you on the half there. That's good. A little touching. What do you expect from this then? Because we do have the double duelist. We have all of this now as an additional, right? This has changed our expectations, diverts from the expected course. What does that change now on this side?
I'm hoping we have the loud approach.
Okay.
Where it's like, we double down and we go all in. We push everything to invest into this composition, especially the way that we saw Kiwi and Atta playing on the defense. I want to see FUT over-invest towards this composition, because I don't think Koi will keep up with it. I mean, I'm here to see it. If Koi can, it's looking pacey at the start of pistol rounds. There's a big positive for me, and actually, it's only one member, Trex, here to hold down the fort for Koi.
But look at the spike again. Look at the spike. They were kind of planning this out. They're taking the tour of the map, but they've taken a whole lot of damage. Coldamenta falls first, but it's not far before Grax has suffered a similar fate, but they pulled them away from the site. They've got free access. Where is that spike going? The spike makes me worried. The spike makes me worried. It's fine, but the spike makes me worried. The spike has now gone down. This is getting a little bit more deadly. I don't know why they went towards Boathouse before trying to peel maybe towards backside. Victim of their own success, potentially with the HP. And a captain's down solo. Kiwi sitting pretty. Paranoia perfect. And the captain forced to take a little bit of a look. That spike is so far from hand right now.
They have to slow things down now. Wait for Koi to overstep, and they're doing just that. Wow, Kiwi's found one response. Luckily, Trex there for the trade.
Why?
A beautiful approach here. I don't think FUT are ever anticipating to catch 3 players on that mid-cross. Ever. Maybe 1. Max 2.
3. Yeah.
But you're thinking in that scenario, maybe it's going to be your Sova and your Jet that you catch on that market drift out, but look at the recon ping is huge, actually. Actually, didn't even catch that in the round, so credit to Coldamenta. That one piece of utility rips apart this fake. But a beautiful approach here. Unorthodox setup to just have Trex maybe in a position to play contact and just call for the rotation, but Coldamenta honestly bailing Koi out. That's a classic.
Say the line, say the line, say the line.
That's a free gun.
Oh, welcome back to VCT NA. At this point, though, we are down to Sheriffs and Classics. It's not much to it, but apparently they can make them work when it matters. Let's see how much more they can do, if anything at all. Looking towards A, maybe they can get a little bit more pressure.
Kiwi's got a Sheriff.
I don't think that Paranoia hits. Starkzo could be comfortable.
Kiwi's got a Sheriff.
Kiwi does indeed have a Sheriff. Oh dear, Trex is 30 HP. Trex is in a whole lot of danger here, potentially to be overwhelmed. Shados there trying to save the day. A flying Cracks comes around, gets put to bed. And now it's just Kiwi and Shados. Ooh.
Again, it takes 3 business days for Coldamenta to get to heaven as well. Again, I think sends in a very deep recon from Spawn, so maybe that's what slows him down, but thank God for that. How is Trex staying alive that long?
It's a good question. We can leave that to the desk.
This is just ridiculous.
Mine don't do that. Mine don't do that at all.
Beautiful time from Shados as well to catch these 2 kills.
Thank Christ for their sake.
A sigh of relief from the Koi camp, honestly. Folks, this again, the damage shows in this round. I'm going to eat a little bit, but I think it's only 1.
Didn't get noted at all.
It's like Kiwi just anticipating that paint shell's full cleared. So these are the sort of questions with somebody stepping onto the raise that, you know, the diligence around that utility.
Oh, the rat's in business. Eerie is ratting away.
I thought you were going to go full.
Here we see the little rat sitting on short, picking Omen, pretending he's going to do smoke. So he's been rewarded. Support from Orphan. Yeah, he's done a bit of chip damage here. Let's see if there's much more from it. Yeah, Fallen finds Trex. Okay, site's now vulnerable. Spike on the way, should be planted. Don't see much to deny.
Orphan can retrieve these weapons now.
That's pretty big.
Shados as well there for an upgrade, maybe? Yeah, they both got upgrades.
There we go. See what we got. Coldamenta, a little bit of utility to invest as well.
One flash from Cracks. And he's probably going to set this up from deep in main.
Scanning ahead.
Nothing complicated about it, but it clears what's necessary. Kind of figuring out where they are or where they aren't. Gets the Vandal himself, drops down. 2 players towards Hell though. Crossfire is gorgeous. Holding both angles. The drop down never going to happen. And the final piece of the puzzle swinging from main. It's controlled.
That's old here. Bear in mind, this was with a broken purchase from Koi, so doing massive amounts of damage and actually being in a position potentially to win that out very early on. Regardless though, you see here, the placement, it's never going to clear this corner. And Kiwi, I think...
He's working off of what you'd imagine's cleared, I guess. Maybe a little bit more
maybe
diligence.
maybe that's what they've rehearsed, and there's no possibility of somebody being in that corner
So
with
he's
the pace cell
going-
placement,
exactly.
and that's why you can maybe forgive the lack of discipline on the way in here.
It's one to watch back and learn from. As we noted, this is not a composition they have often run. It's still new. You're going to see those issues. Trying to work off faithfully, potentially where that utility should have been. Moving on to this round, though, we look at what we have. Operator out for Wolfen. And they've done something somewhat similar here, leaving him posted, leaving him very much in control of that B site. It's half the map is his.
Yeah.
Yes, you have Coldamenta sitting deep towards top middle, but beyond that, basically a heavy lean towards A, and right place for it, really.
TP onto site. Don't think Starzo was spotting. Again, no ping coming through, but FUT happy to follow through on this.
But the delay in timing, the nade towards mains offset the timing just right, but Anna Captain still finds value. Spammed away through the wall, though, gets removed. Lockdown's in place, so they need to make their minds up here. A couple more seconds to respect this. Moj needs to dip away, and then they wait. Flash through the smoke, and they retake the site. Now again, more elements to deal with. Fallen now towards site. Trex standing in, takes down Cracks, swings back out, doesn't get the kill, so it's still game on here. 3v2, but you're running low on time. You're depending on scrapping. Wait, they all step out from the smoke. Mike, what is going on?
They're actually tagged up as well.
What have they done? What have they done?
Oh, no.
Why on earth did they just do that?
They want to try and isolate a player as the plant's going to come through. I think Koi are expecting that recon bolt gets dealt with. That's when FUT are going to go for the plant, but it wasn't even. The spacing was fine. They all swung at the same time. You can see even the player from mains there. I think was it Fallen towards main? You see, I think catches the first, but he's not committing to this peak initially. It's on the second swing.
Yeah.
Problem being there where you've got to at least assume Mod just slipped through and has a deep position on site. He's not even past Gen yet.
Yeah.
And that's like a hindsight thing, but I don't know. That FUT absolutely punishing Koi from trying to be decisive in the late round there. But time was a factor. They could have let that bleed.
Exactly.
Let the pressure build for
seconds.
FUT Esports.
Yeah, it didn't. It felt like maybe the incorrect choice to be made with the information they had, even though it was limited. Looking at this though, that first pick on Wolfen. And FUT are backing away, deciding to explore that B site. We know there's still a player around. Gonna be Shados sitting towards the site. Cracks, no knife here. Plenty to work with still. Flash, nade, and knowing the turret's in effect, gotta be ready. Shados is in trouble though. If he tries to stick this out. How did every enough went around him? It happens, I guess. Shados does find Kiwi. Literally in no man's land, nowhere to run back to at that point.
That's a captain actually eating a ton of spam. Moj.
He's in such a good spot for
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
If he just gets the timing right.
And he has.
Did he see? Doesn't matter if he saw
No,
him or
it doesn't
not.
matter. He's still
he's
on time.
fine.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's going to have a whale of a time here. Oh, it's so pleasant. Yes, bye-bye. Finds both of them.
Yeah.
Super nice timing on that.
Beautiful setup here. Well handled. Keep 4 alive as well. Kiwi on the Blade Storm. Kind of throw that out into a round like that. Still looking healthy in terms of the ult cycle available here, but on the other side, some key ultimates available for Koi. Blade Storm on the card, Stinger. Again, just to protect potentially an operator purchase behind this. But I'm going to be honest, Koi have to tie it up here for me to not feel very concerned about the economy on the other side. And this needs to be as close to a flawless as possible.
See it. This has to be the big round, right? This is the one you put all the chips in on it. You got to know exactly what's on the line here. Step's going to be hurt. Wolfen. They're not making much subtlety of this, and the ults come in quite early. Wolfen now stands on the corner. He's fortunately got one. Thought maybe got the follow-up there just out of sheer brute force and determination, but now the site's under scrutiny. Kiwi's already got the strides working. In towards site, clears deep, site's theirs. Barriers are up. Spike's going to go down.
Captain still got an aid, still got the showstopper. This is brutal for Koi in the retake.
There goes the nade, but it's the showstopper. That could almost sign it off now. Flank gonna come in, doesn't matter. Now been seen. Trek's position is no longer a surprise, and Moj can just play it to the timing. And the captain, they're just buying so much time
Big
here.
damage onto Goldmenta, actually.
Yeah, lovely work. Trex found, Shados found, and now just Starkso trying to do something ridiculous here. How much damage can he achieve? He's gonna hear them all exit. Yeah, not a chance at it.
Oh my
Not
god,
a chance,
Moj.
Enemy remaining.
Oh, what were you? Oh, interesting. Interesting. And that was,
Moj catches that.
why did he check? Why would you check? He checks. Don't get away with anything with Moj. But again, that was a round that if you wanted Koi to do something.
Yeah, because now look at the purchase. Again, Starzo is going to be on that light shield purchase to make sure he's got the paranoia in place, and that's why I think we see the timeout here, because if FUT find 11, Koi have got nothing in the bank.
Feel for falling in that, genuinely.
Yeah, he's like, so I'll swing off you, dude, don't worry.
I'm dead.
I've walked into a knife.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that is mad.
Audacity, yeah. Why is he checking that? We do have a pump the brakes coming in, though. It is going to be Koi hitting up that timeout because, as you noted, probably the prior round was the one that you'd want to see the big impact in. That'd be their all-in job. Didn't really work out.
Positive being, we get an operator in here from Wolfen. Whether or not that's going to slow things down for Koi. Maybe wait out this initial wave from FUT's attack.
Nice copium picture.
Yep.
Very nice. Good work. 10 out of 10. I just don't know if they've got enough to bring out here.
No, the concern being is we burned the null command. Yeah, the blade storm you throw away from that, but again, Trex spotted on the flank way before you even popped that, and then it's like, okay, I'm solo and I'm popping the null command.
Cool.
You've got a deep sight hold. What's the value in disabling the utility, really, at all? So yeah, a little baffled by that one, but maybe just panic decision.
Throw everything, kitchen sink at it, hope for the best. Didn't work out, obviously.
Let's just button mash on the way back to site.
They might scale late game though, Mike, so we do
There's a possibility.
There's a possibility.
Trex is going to hit his power spike.
Deploying drone.
Yeah, Koi, again, same thing from last round. This has to be as close to flawless for me. They have to remove this chunk of change that for esports are built up, and that's what you want to see. Remove Atta Captain very early on in this round. An opportunity for Koi to actually flex into another setup here.
We'll see if there's any... Oh, Kiwi, why did no one turn around? Mentor, completely unaware of it. And now, Trex is in danger as well. It looks like Kiwi's just feeling nasty. And all the damage, look at him. Trex is down to 11 HP. Hemorrhaging blood at this point. Spike is down. 3v3 post plant, hard to crack it open with that operator. Let's see what they can do with it. We've still got some utility. Starkso, Trex, util in hand. They can make something out of this, but time is being purchased here.
And Paranoia available as well.
Oh.
Yeah, Wolfen's removed so early.
That's really,
holding on to the operator,
They're gone. Trex forced to reside and
the
fall
exits
away.
mean nothing as well here.
Oh, this is hard to watch.
It is.
Genuinely brutal to watch. Great round from FUT, but...
Hey, I've seen exactly what I wanted to see from FUT in this half, though. You bring this composition out, it's got to be pacey. Yeah. It's got to catch players off guard. A perfect example in that round there. Coldamenta's like, how is this guy up in market? Who's in market behind me? What's going on?
Which of my teammates is it? Oh, wait, it's not my teammate. Yeah, he was absolutely caught off
Credit
by
where
that
credit's due once again to the prep from FUT Esports, which we've seen a number of times in a number of different maps.
Again,
demonstrated here.
Look at this timing.
Yeah.
None the wiser. Didn't even know there was a chance someone could be there. Wow.
That's the thing. It's awful to be caught off guard with an Odin in hand as well. Not many players able to turn that back in their favor.
5 in a row.
Yeah.
This is starting to spiral. Get out of hand. Get out of control. Wolfen trying to keep up. Saw him find a little bit of early damage just that round before.
Yeah, bear in mind as well, on the back of conceding the first blood, that's when FUT pop.
Yes, which is crazy, right? Okay, let's see what Wolfen can do here. The shot goes a little wide on that. Gonna have to fall away. There's no follow-up.
Rotation immediately.
Panic.
Everyone. It's only Shados here to play off his util.
They start feeling that.
And only a Bulldog, so you've got to argue, odds-wise, he's not going to find, you know, one or more kill. It should be instantly traded, unless he can do a lot of chip damage with this util. Coldamenta now toying with the idea of rotating, but a little behind the curve. Sardo spotted it here, but again, it's so late on.
Yeah.
Shadows forced deep with the paint shell as well.
Yeah, sight's all theirs. They can't even slip into that second gear, try and hit that maybe offset retake. They're stuck towards CT. They have no mid control at this point. They have no step elsewhere. They have no flank on the way. It's 5 players in CT. Paranoia comes in. Don't think it quite connects. Kiwi standing. Kiwi fighting every single one. They are just decimating them. And then it's just Starzo. A valiant attempt, sure. But it's 12 for FUT.
And a key reposition from Kiwi there. Gets scanned on the recon. The Paranoia gets sent just to pressure him so they can get a favorable swing towards site. Get a beautiful flash over the top. I mean, I hope that was from Cracks.
You'd hope so, right?
I hope the flash comes through from Cracks there. This flash here, yeah. There's no assist. That was Trex's flash. I was desperate to look at the kill feed there to see if it was an assist, but again, slight miscommunication, maybe swinging out of that smoke. It's a dicey scenario to have to execute.
Oh, they just want him dead now. Wolfen, brave, and this time it's actually working out. What? Hello, bye-bye. A little bit of a 1-for-1 trade out in that affair, but everyone else is up for the fight. It's a 2v3. Kiwi still alive, Fallen still alive, and they're still putting up bodies. It's down to a 2v2. How did it get this close?
Fallen's got his TP as well, so I think Koi thinking we have to cover both sides.
Oh no, they get a 2v1 here. Trex, great work towards Kiwi though. Nice flash spots the player. Fallen's been noted. He has his TP though. He's got a minute to play with. He's got time. Can he manipulate these two? Can he be in their head? And Fallen's just gonna play with it now. Let's see what he does.
Does that molly cover the default plant on Gen? That's what I'm curious, because there's a chance Shadows could pop these. Smart TP. Mitigating any risk from util. It's a wide open plant that will leave some questions for Koi on the retake.
What does he do with this? Okay, smoke up toward heaven. And he's going to be flanking around. Shadows is up here. First challenge and he fails. Koi. Another round to play with here.
Well, finally.
Breaking
another round,
6
yeah.
in a row.
Finally, another round to play with. Couple more chances for FUT to close this out in 2. Again, the finance is not a concern at all. Mr. Fallen almost makes this doable.
It shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been. But it got stupidly close.
Luckily, Shados catching him. Again, even there, you think another couple of seconds pass by, Shados and Trex group up, then there's nobody holding that position. You've got to argue they're probably going to funnel towards heaven.
Would have worked well for it as well. Yeah, it could have really gone wrong late game, but the timing just right.
Are they looking to counter spam here? I see Fallen with an Odin. Or they maybe just looking for a scan through the wall. Sorry, a spam through the wall here.
No one's taking that.
They're literally fishing for Cold Mentor.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, to spam. Make sure that their lockdown can't be spammed, but this is interesting. Actually, the paint shell lands.
Oh dear. Oh dear, Trax! Just the victim at the back of the site. Hands in the air and just surrendering, but Shados gonna barrel in, try and take someone with him. Takes out Cracks, but a quick trade. Oh, Wolfen dives head first in. Vicious in approach in a 3v3. It's Fallen spamming out, fighting Starzo. Coldamenta and Wolfen, if you've got anything left in you, anything you can bring, Kiwi sends Coldamenta to the grave, but it's got a captain to close. 13-9 in the end. FUT continue looking incredible thus far.
Very versatile. There's depth to this roster, which is another conversation we've always had about Turkish teams. What's the depth? How much can they actually develop as a core? And we're seeing so many positives here. Just to come back again, Koi for me, there was definitely glimmers of hope. It's unfortunate actually FUT Esports pull out a couple of things today that I think maybe remove some of that ability to prep for them. But again, there's still some very, very glaring issues with this Koi roster.
it looks a little one-dimensional on things like Icebox. Didn't love what we saw there. Didn't quite have that versatility that maybe we were considering could come out. Or that kind of maybe laser game adaptation, toying with middle a little bit more. Again, it felt a little blunt to me. It didn't have that complexity I was hoping for.
For me, if you're going to prep that comp for Icebox, there needs to be some... I was talking about the plan Bs for FUT and the contingencies and actually what they learn as they progress through some of these rounds and, you know, troubleshooting on the fly. All those things were completely absent for me, for Koi.
So we're going to be looking through the Prime Gaming match highlights here, but as we do, let's kind of then shift that mentality out, you know, map 1 into map 2. Lessons learned, what did we walk away with this? Is this just another progression step for FUT in your mind? Is this them proving once again, or doing what you expected at this point now?
It is, yeah. I think the only real dynamic shift we would have had coming out today is if Koi just stomped FUT in 2. They were like, okay, did FUT hit their limit? Was that kind of all they had in the tank? But again, they continue to develop in my eyes. But this was a better performance from Koi today. Again, round score aside, I don't want to look into obviously the previous results or today's results by the round score. This felt better in areas, but again, it's that second step that's just missing for me. I don't know if they're just so heavily reliant on their game plan working that a double duelist comp comes out and, you know, you get a first blood and then it's, okay, yeah, well, if they throw themselves at sites now, we're screwed.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to kind of, almost in my mind as well, though, flip that to see, I'm so happy to see that double duelist being run by FUT, because as you said, it shows that depth.
It's suited
it looks really nice. And a captain, once again, yes, it was the Kiwi show a little on the board, but a captain showing that versatility is with him. He's showing it looks good on the raise there.
Beautiful catch as well there. The paint shell's so pivotal in that final round to remove the lockdown and make sure that B-site hit was going to be successful. So yeah, credit where credit's due to see him again, go from strength to strength. I was talking about him being the headliner because for me, he's been so damn clutch for FUT. So to see him now pick up the raise and actually, yeah, again, numbers-wise, somebody else delivered, but so much impact from him.
Yeah, he's certainly a player to watch, to keep your eyes on him going ahead. FUT turning out to be quite the team to enjoy watching play. However, something else for you to enjoy coming up will be an interview. So we're going to head down to that now.
Thank you very much, Pansy and Hypog. I feel very honored to be sharing this stage right now with Kiwi and Yama, who's going to be helping us with the translations. First of all, merhaba, congratulations on the victory. We don't see very many double duelists on Ascent at all. So why did you guys make that change for today?
Ascent'te çok fazla duelist görmüyoruz. Double duelist. Bugünkü niye böyle bir değişikliğe gittiniz?
Çünkü atak site'da biraz problemler yaşıyorduk. Tek başıma zorluk çekiyordum. Onun için 2 entry'yi düşündük. 2 entry yaptık. O yüzden böyle oldu.
We were having some problem in the attack side. So we decided to play with 2 attackers, 2 entry, and that's why we decided to go to this decision.
Well, it worked out well, but why Ata captain on Raze?
Neden Ata kaptan on Raze?
Joker.
Joker. Ata is Joker.
Oh, okay. He can play everything, I guess?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's definitely a good asset to have on your team. Now, Kiwi, your Jet, çok güzel, your Neon, çok güzel, everything you play right now is amazing. What is the secret to your consistency?
Neon ve Jet'in çok iyi. Bu devamlılıkındaki sır ne?
Ya pek bir sırrım yok. Sadece çok oyun oynuyorum o karakterlerle. Günde en az 10 maç atıyorum. O yüzden böyle.
I don't have a secret. I'm just playing constantly. That's why I'm good at. I'm playing minimum 10 games.
Every day?
Every day.
10? Oh my goodness. You guys at home, you need to do more, I feel like. You now know the secret. Now, lastly, you've been playing alongside your teammates Moj, Krax, and the other guys as well for a long time. In Tier 2, you were doing very good, but you never found success in Tier 1. So why are you winning now? Why this moment?
Moj'la Krax'la uzun süredir beraber oynuyoruz. Tier 2 turnuvalar hep kazanıyordunuz. Şu an ne değişti de Tier 1 turnuvalarda herkesi yeniyorsunuz?
Çünkü biz uzun zamandır beraber oynuyoruz. Birbirimize çok alıştık. Ata'nın gelmesi de takım tam birbirine uyum sağladı. O yüzden güzel bir kimya yakaladık ve bu kimya üzerine devam ediyoruz.
Because we've been playing for a long time and now after Ata joined, we found the chemistry and now that's why we're playing good and it's going to keep continuing.
Wow, Ata's the Joker and the chemistry as well. He's doing
Ata
a lot.
hem Joker hem de chemistry uzmanı.
And lastly, you're giving the Turkish fans something to cheer about. They're so happy. There we go. So if you would like to say anything to the Turkish fans down the camera, feel free.
Herkese çok teşekkür ederim bizi desteklediğiniz için. Bu sene cidden güzel şeyler yapacağımıza inanıyorum. Sadece inanın yeter. Teşekkür ediyorum.
We're gonna do amazing things this year. Just keep believing we're gonna make it.
Oh yeah, we believe, we believe. Thank you so much for translating, and thank you very much, Kiwi, for joining me today. Now, we have a huge matchup coming up. After the break, we're going to be bringing you Team Liquid versus Fnatic.
Nice! Nice, man! Nice! 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 Nice!
Red Bull gives you wings.
Zero distraction. Zero doubt. Zero opposition.
What? What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon, El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
What a win from FUT. Another 2-0 for them this week of VCT EMEA. I'm Yingsu and I'm joined by Cougar and Zesh. I know when Spanish teams do well, we say vamos, you know, we cheer them up like that. I don't think we have one for the German teams, but for the Turkish teams, we gotta say Hilal. We gotta say Hilal.
Hilal.
Because what a win that was, you guys. You were maybe thinking about possibilities of a map 3.
Yes, but I think that especially after seeing the way that the race was executed, of course it's not about the boom, but it's more about the paint shells and the way that it was used to clear out spaces, to clear out utility, and you know, to give Ada Captain the freedom that he somehow wanted. Because you know, when someone is going on a duelist for the first time ever, is this the performance that you expect? Because I didn't see him second guess himself a single time.
The satchels were good.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
they were better than some duelists I see.
I just wanted to exactly say that. There are players who are not that good with the satchels from time to time. I'm generally not 100% sold on the composition, I'll be honest with you. I like that, it was great, and I think particularly considering this first duelist he ever played, my god, that was good. My god, that was great. But at the end of the day, right, it felt like their swap that they made was once more one of those comfort ones, and it felt like the right kind of comfort, because it's a great thing when you have a Joker.
I mean, they were addressing the issues, right? They worked out. Our attack side was bad. How do we fix it? This is it. We're going to have a look at it in just a moment, but I think one insanely amazing thing we've seen from FUT is how they can stop the bleeding. Zesh, in round 4, I believe this was Kiwi's clutch, if we take a look at it, because on Icebox, it was a 4-0. They stopped the game from getting out of hand.
Yeah, this was a 4K from him coming in again. And I have to say one thing about FUT, and this is where this sticking together, being a team really pays off. It is the matter of fact that you start to get used to those situations, because not every game can start the way you like. Not every game can start with a 2-0, you win pistol, and so on and so on. And that is the great part for me about FUT, is that they can always retrieve and come back, figure out what they've done wrong in those previous rounds, and figure it out once it matters. Usually when you have that 4-0 scoreline, second buy round works perfectly fine. And I think this once more proves how calm and collected this team is, in the sense of they figure out how to adapt and change things so swiftly.
And mentally, nothing changes for him. Kiwi is in a situation where he's against 5 players, and he's like, so what? You know, it's just 4 of them. It's just 4 of them. I'm just going to go in, and again, they prove it, at least, you know, in the end, it's always the Turkish teams. They can hit the bullets. They're not scared. They're going to go for it. They're going to make that play, and then Koi's going to be like, well, we just lost that.
Well,
and it wasn't the only time.
He plays 10 games a day. How many kills do you think he's getting? 10 games a day, every single day. That's how he gets to that level of consistency. Now, I want to know how many games Atta plays, especially on Raze, because like you guys mentioned, him, of all people, we did not expect to play the
day with Ada.
But Cougar, you've heard it from Kiwi. The addition of Atta has changed the team chemistry, and he's the joker of their team.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of he can do whatever he wants. He's going to be fun, but he's also going to be a wild card. Something that the other teams are not going to expect, because if you are set to prepare against this FUT, you probably think of the other compositions, of maybe something that they're going to be doing different. But now that Ada is here, I wonder, they fixed the problems for this map in particular, but nothing tells us that this is what they're going to run the next time that they play Ascent, because Atta brings that flexibility of, you know, this was good, maybe we can do something even better.
I don't think it's the new Na'Vi, to just put that out. I think it's not going to be like that, but I see your point, right? Because, again, there would have been a lot of options we discussed in the beginning. Maybe they play double controller, right? Maybe they pop in the Viper. That could have been an option, particularly how much of a veteran Atta is on that map. So therefore, it's a good point for the future. I still think that there needs to be an adjustment to their Ascent. It's weird saying that when they won 13-9, I'll say that. But it still feels like there could be a little bit better, but at the end, hey, this is an amazing FUT. They're up 3-0, 3-1, pardon.
Yeah, they are, and they 2-0'd Koi. I don't think anybody
and it's not getting any better, because I think that Koi is facing off against Fnatic next week.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Let's address this with Koi. In the beginning, top of the show today, we spoke about the fact that there are some certain things that are clearly wrong with this team. And I think one round on Ascent just summed it up. Round 16 here.
I know what you're talking about. It's not only this one, but
it just sums up what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And in this situation, FUT is going to be on the
4v2.
attack. Yeah, Mosh gets the first one, and they, for some reason, even though they're in this superiority, they want to follow on that recon, and they just start picking one by one and being completely staggered. They just threw, for no reason, a 4v2, trying to create a situation of an advantage they already had.
They were reloading in the open.
It's legit a mental thing.
Yeah.
It's legit a mental thing.
No, it cannot be a mental thing, because they were up in the score at that moment.
But they were panicking.
It has to be, but why are you panicking when you're 4v2?
I cannot because you're suddenly 2v2.
Yeah, I mean, after Trex got that kill on Krax, I thought the round is done.
Two rounds after that, I think we had a team flash from Trex that cost them the round as well on a retake. And I think Hypox spotted there being like, yeah, there's no assist icon on the map.
Well, this is the question, right? Now we've seen them once again lose in a fashion that we didn't expect.
Yes.
What is wrong? What is it?
I think it's a lot of things. I would just scrap it to the core. Maybe the team just doesn't work.
Wow,
you know, sometimes you have very good players, but they don't mesh together. I think the G2 last year was the perfect example of this. They kept getting the best players in the region, the best players, and they just didn't merge together well.
I'll give it the mental card. I'll honestly give it the mental card. Icebox aside, I think Icebox had bigger issues. But I personally believe that round we saw, that 8-8, was spiraling into a situation like we can't win this. And that's then purely a mental thing, because the capabilities on the paper exist to be like at least a top 5 team, if you ask me.
I mean, it's the opposite problem we have with FUT, right? Kiwi saying we've been together for so long. Like, we know how to play together.
Yeah.
And this Koi team, they just haven't. They were one of the teams that started from scratch. They brought in players. They've only been together realistically for like 2 months, 3 months at this point. And FUT, they were able to come back from a 4-0, 3-0, maybe because they just had more time.
Yeah, but we've had this conversation in the past, and when we talk about time and time and time, it's something that you're not going to have in Valorant. The competition moves very fast, and we need to keep moving.
All right, I'll bring it up on a positive note, because I'm delighted as a Turkish Valorant enjoyer. You guys know every time they win, my ego just rises and rises. Can we now realistically look at FUT as a team that doesn't just make playoffs, but go all the way?
Maybe.
Have they proved themselves?
I think that they 100% deserve a spot in playoffs. We need to see what's going to happen with that top 4, because we have Fnatic, okay, the crowned. We have Na'Vi, who keep evolving. Then you have Vitality, who's in a bit of a questions and goes with Giants that we still need to see tomorrow. I think it's just too early. 100% for playoffs. Maybe
still too early.
There's one thing.
I think so.
I am worried that nerves are going to come into play when it's for a slot for Masters. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Because on paper, I think they would be more than capable of being a top 4 team.
Nerves for a team that's played together for this long?
Yeah, because absolutely.
Nerves for Ada Captain that just pulled up that race the first time that he ever played a duelist. Okay.
I could. I don't see it will happen, but I could see it happen. That when it really matters, that happens.
You feel like that will be the only reason, right? The only reason that maybe they don't make it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things going right for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have the mechanics, they have the strats, and
even Doom Bros is sold.
I mean, I feel like the Ascent, maybe to play devil's advocate here, Zesh, the fact that they were able to come back on Ascent like that, does that not show you that they're not letting the nerves get to them? You know, they're actually just playing their game and winning convincingly?
I don't want to be that guy, but it was, I think, besides them coming back brilliantly, Koi losing their mind.
Okay.
Literally losing
I'm going to ask you guys this again next week and again the week after. I'm just going to bring this as like a regular question about when have FUT proved themselves enough? Because for me, it was like week 2. That was a crazy game. That was a great match. But can you guys believe it? We have one of the most storied matchups of all of EMEA. It's time to get ready for Team Liquid versus Fnatic. Redgar, Defo, Chronicle, Shados, Nats. Long ago, a team named Gambit lived together in harmony. Then everything changed when Fnatic attacked.
Played out nicely by Fnatic, but hey.
Redgar, master of all 7 maps, tried to stop them. But when Reykjavik needed him the most,
you can feel the victory because Fnatic have done it.
He fell and watched as Boaster rose to prominence. 1 year passed and Redgar sought out another voyage to Iceland. But all he found once again was pain.
Now things get dangerous.
This was his chance to take Boaster down.
He's running the clock down. Defo wants the swing.
Oh, I don't think he's got it. It's going to be close.
Some people believe that history is destined to repeat itself and the cycle will never be broken.
Fnatic win this one out, and they're booking their flights to Iceland, baby.
but I haven't lost hope. I still believe that somehow Redgar, with his new team, will return to save the world. The day was September 19th, 2022, otherwise known as the saddest day in competitive Valorant. 5 players from CIS that we grew to know and love went their separate ways. It was the end of Gambit. Sure, Redgar and Nats, they stuck together, but it's never going to be the same. Shados and Chronicle also found new homes, but despite spending 687 days competing together, they have never faced each other. Until today. Today is not just about Fnatic versus Team Liquid. Today, Chronicle will be taking the stage against his old Bratons, the former teammates that he lifted an international trophy with. Yes, Fnatic versus Liquid is always a banger, but this Gambit reunion could be the one to top it all.
But first, let's go back to how it all started. We know that both Fnatic and Liquid are pillars of the competitive scene, but these two teams haven't met regularly for some time. In VCT, Fnatic holds a 4-2 record over Liquid, but 5 of those were in 2021. Remember, these were the 2 first teams to ever represent EMEA on an international stage. And it was there, at Masters Reykjavik, that Liquid were taught a cruel lesson, that there are no friends on LAN. Luckily, Liquid's revenge came sooner than expected, shattering Fnatic's chances of qualifying for Masters Berlin, the only international event that Fnatic has ever missed. And as 2022 started, so did a new format. A format that left us without a single Team Liquid versus Fnatic. But let's be honest, whose fault was that? And it was only at Champions Istanbul that we were treated to this age-old rivalry. These two teams have known each other forever. But in reality, many things have changed for both Liquid and Fnatic.
And today, it is a different day. The best players of our region meet right on this stage. Durkit is a well-proven Lanimal. He can do everything. And Safe, well, so far statistically he is the best, but that guy is a different caliber. Both can decide the outcome of this game. When we talk about players, we cannot forget the initiators. Yampi, as well as Leo, couldn't be any different. The one unorthodox, wild in his playstyle, whilst the other one, well, is the safest option you could get. Finally, the founding fathers of both teams. Boaster went for a roller coaster with Fnatic, from disappointing fans to achieving the best, lifting a trophy internationally. Soulcast knows nothing about that, even though he has been there for every single iteration of Team Liquid. Right here, they will fight it out to see who's coming out on top in that rivalry.
Hello, my name is Rieger, but you can know me by my nickname Redgar, and I am the team captain of Valorant team, Team Liquid. So I started playing into video games since I was like 3 years old because of my brother inspiration, and I started to playing a lot in Counter-Strike Source, and I played like in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and after maybe like 3 months I have like the highest rank and find out the team at the university, and they say, hey, maybe you want to play into the tournament between universities. I say, yeah, let's go. We played it and won like my first tournament, and I think it was the moment when I go into the series go, and I think like in shooters at all. When the Valorant out, it was first year of my magister degree. In the meantime, I still think that I want to try to go into the esports. On the last year of my education, I guess it was about 3 months, and I need to make the diploma. It was like the Gambit who connected with me, and they made me an offer, hey, you want to play as an IGL and other stuff, and I would say, yeah, I'm ready to go. I was a little bit maybe afraid because it was the first time when I was the captain. I spoke like a lot with my friends, and I decided that it's not about the scare, it's like I really waited for that opportunity and I got this, and it's more about that I'm ready to go into that with full my attitude, with full my time. I'm ready to leave the game. In every game when I go into that, I want to be like the best. So I think that's things like inspired me to move forward in all other games. After Masters 2, when we were close to be qualified and we lost to Fnatic like 0-2, manager come to me and the coach come to me and said, hey, like the game didn't like how you performed, but we all understand, we saw like the work that you did. If we say for you like that you can make it and you can't like show the results, it will be hard for you to stay in the team. I say okay. And the Eng told me you should focus on yourself. And I just decided to follow the Eng words and focus on myself a lot in terms of individual things. And it was like kind of negative motivation for me when they're saying that you can't, that you are bad. For me, it's not working. Like I'm gonna be disappointed. I want to move forward. I want to prove them that they are wrong. And for me, it was more motivation than the bad things. Switching the languages in the team from Russian to English, for me it was not that hard, to be fair. Maybe in micro things, if we're talking about like the specific scenarios, sometimes it could be hard at the beginning to understand each other, but right now I think we understand each other really good. Because we're all gamers, right? We all know the aspects of the game. It was easy to find out the common things. And if we find out the troubles, we are speaking about them. So my goal right now in Team Liquid is to win a lot of tournaments. I can't say how much, but I want to make the streak of winning 2 or 3 in a row tournament, because right now no one did it like to winning like the 2 titles in a row. And this is like my goal, to make that team that can achieve this. So let's gonna see, can we make it as a team or no?
Well, as you guys saw, there's a lot of pressure on Redgar's shoulders. Every time he's come up against Boaster, it's always been a loss. These two teams are played against each other a lot, and I'm interested to see how the map beaters are going to go. And Liquid, they do the smart thing.
Yeah, they do the smart thing. They know the Pearl is definitely not going to come from the hands of Fnatic, because of course it's going to be through a permaban. They do the smart thing. Yeah, I think that, you know, it's still like 3 weeks left, but you don't want to meet up against Fnatic here.
And they've chosen Lotus. I like this for Liquid so far.
Yeah. All right. I mean, Lotus so far has not been necessarily successful for Liquid, right? The 2 Ls they took there against FUT, and it was also Vitality. But that could be very much working, as we see Haven coming up next from Fnatic, as their Team Liquid picks on the defense. We get ourselves a few interesting maps here, I believe.
We do, and Liquid are the ones to take away the Ascent, so Fnatic get to decide whether we see Split or Fracture, and I'm not super surprised about this one. Yeah.
It's going to be Fracture, the last one. So I know you can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and honestly, this is interesting because, Bear, you spoke about how many times they face each other. This is a storied rival. We see it a lot in EMEA. But funnily enough, out of the 3 maps, they've never played against each other on Lotus or Fracture. So we're heading into very new territories for 2 very well-known teams.
Yeah, exactly. As I was mentioning, of course, the last time that they faced off against each other was in Champs in 2022. So, of course, Lotus wasn't even an option, and in a best of 3, it was unlikely to see that Fracture.
And this brings us to the point where this Lotus so far, I think, still looks like it would have been a solid possibility for the side of Team Liquid. At the same time, you know, I'm kind of keen, because the one thing that we've seen so far when it comes to this map in particular, Fnatic, particularly on the defending side, have great setups I enjoy, particularly with that Viper that we have. So I am kind of curious if Team Liquid is fully prepared for that in that sense, and most importantly, if we once more see composition swaps.
Well, I'll give you something about preparation. You know, we talk about how teams, they have a whole week, they know who they're playing against, they can do their homework. But as much as I hyped up the Gamba reunion, there's no one else on this earth that knows what Chronicle can do them better than Redgar and Nats, and vice versa. Chronicle knows what a kind of IGL Redgar is, so I feel like it's more of an even standing point in terms of preparation.
In terms of preparation of information, but if we focus on the preparation part, there's not much that you can take out of Fnatic on this map, because I do think that something is going to change coming in their way. They know what they're facing once you have a permaban, and having this entire week to prepare yourself for what is going to be probably the 2nd most expected match of the season, I think that they have this under control.
Particularly, I want to see if there have been changes to the defense of Team Liquid, to come back to them, because this has been a little bit of a weakness against the teams they have faced so far, where they were letting too much space open, which is my worry, because Fnatic, you know they have a read on you. They know how to take the space that you leave open. This is something they cannot allow, which brings us to those people who can actually create and deny space.
Well, let's talk about those people, Durka and Safe. Of course, Vincent, you mentioned it in the part as well when we were doing the preview. How excited are you for this matchup?
It's amazing, because Safe was always a little bit overlooked, so to say. We knew that he can play well, we knew that he's individually blessed, but at the same time, we never mentioned it in the likes of Durka or CNET or those names, right? And he wants to change his legacy in that regard, in my eyes, because so far, he was always just simply overlooked. And
he's gunning for Durka's spot. That's what he's doing.
He's trying to diff him out. And I don't know if that's going to work, because it's Durka at the end of the day.
I mean, definitely, if we see changes in the composition, it doesn't really matter. We need to see who is going to be shut down, because remember, one of the most important things that Fnatic does perfectly are those trades, are those protocols into how to take the fights. Is Safe going to have the same on his end? Because it doesn't matter who wins that first duel if there's a shutdown coming from the other side.
I got a fun stat for you guys. On Fnatic, they have 2 players. One of them have the most first kills in the entire league, and the other one have the least first death. They have both of them on the same team, and of course is Durka and Leo. And the second most first kills out of everyone in the league is Safe, but Durka's played 10 less rounds than Safe, and he still has more first kills. So I feel like this battle is going to be absolutely crazy.
You know, I have another stat for you. Do you know the only player that has gone positive against every single player that he has played on the league so far? Safe.
Oh, okay. This is going to be really, really interesting to see if Durka can shut him down. But is that the fight that we're looking for? Is that the, if Safe can do it, then Liquid 100% winning, and if Durka can do it, then Fnatic is winning? Is it that simple?
That's what I mean. Like, I feel like it's good to have a comfortable Safe. I don't know if it's going to be possible. I don't know if we're going to have the same Safe that we'd had the previous 2 weeks, because against Fnatic, as every single team that has faced them so far, is not that easy.
So the point about this is, if, let's say, Durka is playing mediocre today, the good part for Fnatic is that individually they can rely on a lot more players. We know that a Leo can step up. I don't need to start about Alpha. You know the story goes on and on and on. It's the other way around, or different at least for Team Liquid in my eyes. If Safe is, let's say, crumbling, let's say Safe is not having a great day. Surely there's Yampi, for example, who's great, right? But I personally believe that a Nats has never lived up to the standards that we knew. A Redgar is not individually as good as we witnessed him back in the Gambit days. That is a big difference between those 2 teams for me.
But that's because the situation is different. I think that Team Liquid went under more changes just by changing or incorporating an IGL, depending on how you want to see it. But is bringing your method to work with somebody new, because at least, you know, Boaster had Mini and they can, you know, work around that. But Rekka had to say hello to Emil and be like, hello. Nice to meet you. Do you want to...
Exactly how it went?
Yeah, that's exactly how it went. I have a video.
Knowing Red Guy would have been like a big bear hug.
I'm
They
sure.
would have gone for a coffee or something. But again, speaking of Redgar, this is like, we talk about how Boaster was an anime hero at Lock-In. He is an anime villain in Redgar's world. For Redgar, every time he tried to qualify for Reykjavik, Boaster's like, nah, and then just shuts him down. He has never tasted what it feels like to beat him. So this is something that he has to do today.
For them to get a win in an international event, they need a Fnatic to not be in the competition.
Quite literally, yeah, quite literally.
That's quite true. I think one thing we still need to remember ourselves is the competition that Liquid so far met. And I think nothing is close to Fnatic. Period, right? That's no real debate. But I think what we've seen so far against FUT and Vitality has not 100% told me like, oh my god, this was a 13-2, a 13-5, they're so good, they're so insane, that I would be like convincing, yeah, this is a 50-50. I still think we lean way more into Fnatic, even though this is the greatest rivalry I could think of, besides Fnatic, Navi maybe.
It's usually something that I've been hearing coaches say, especially after they played against Liquid, and is that, you know, Safe gets the kill, gets the kills, it looks like he has a lot of impact, but he doesn't get into your head. And it is something that, you know, many duelists do, in the sense of, I bet the Kiwi was rent-free, and it's going to be rent-free in Koi's mind for at least 3 days. And I think that Durka has the same effect, so I wonder if, you know, Safe can do that to Fnatic.
But do you know how Safe gets in people's heads, though?
I just wanted to say that.
The backroom trash talk, you know, we heard Doombro say that he was giving it to them, a LAN when he was a guild, he was giving it to a Bone Cold as well when they face each other, and I don't know if if the boys on Fnatic are kind of going to be okay on the receiving end of that. But I know we kind of tout Fnatic as almost like a flawless team, but I do want to address a slight concern that I have, which is Alpha year. Of course, Kamik did a really good job filling in, but they have not had really any time to prac with Alpha. The last week when we saw Alpha play, they had 1 day. Now, obviously, they had like 7 days. I just don't know how he's going to be like if he needs to warm up a little bit more on stage.
I think that he probably has had enough time by now. And, you know, looking at the map veto notes and knowing that Lotus is going to be that first map, the last time they played all together, nothing should have changed in that time. And I think Fnatic, you know, we were talking about the problems that, for example, Koi might have, or yesterday Heretics might have. None of that is happening in Fnatic. So you do have a lot of extra time to fill in those small holes that you're finding.
I mean, Bosa said that when Kamik was here, that they explicitly didn't want to play Lotus. They banned it in the second round every time because Kamik was not ready for Lotus. They couldn't just get him caught up on every map. And that tells you that they haven't been practicing Lotus.
Honestly, first
But that's
world
what I mean. But
problems.
they have not been practicing Lotus when Kamik was there. So Vincent, I'm presenting this as more of a 50-50. I know it doesn't look like a 50-50, but Liquid, they're on a great streak now. They're starting to actually get into the Liquid that we were expecting. And Fnatic, it's not actually all sunshine and roses behind the scenes. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. I see where you're coming from, but I think you call it first world problems. I call it first place problems. It's basically first place problems. We're talking about this being an issue, and surely something that could be brought up. But I think this would apply a little more if we're probably talking about a different enemy. At the same time, Liquid, I think. Honestly, they've never been more hungry from what we've seen to finally take them down. This might be just regular season. This is not a grand final in that sense.
This is what I mean. Liquid are so hungry.
They are really hungry.
Yes.
Yeah.
But hear me out. When we talk about these problems and everything else, I think that last year, some teams were under so much stress and they were able to overcome that. Fnatic was one of them, you know, like not being able to bring players to events and everything that everybody knows were happening behind the scenes. If we manage to get through 2022, 2023, it's gonna be fine, you know?
Same as Redgar and Nats, though. They've also had to go through a lot of stress with M3C and everything. So I don't know. I feel like there's so many storylines, and there's so many narratives, and there's so many win conditions for both teams. Because the previous matchup, when we were looking at Koi and FUT, for example, there were a couple of pieces we could be like, if this doesn't work, it's done. But for both of these teams, there's layers, and then after that, there's also another layer, and then Leo might just kill you with a shock dart.
That would not be we still need that stat at one point.
Or Yampi might be playing operator with Sky.
I think the stat is that Leo has gotten more shock dart kills than first death. That is a legitimate stat.
Oh, wow.
That is a legitimate stat.
That would be a...
That looks good.
Whoever thought that would be a crossover in any world, I would have never thought that would be
Okay, well, I thought it was more of a 50-50. What do you guys think then? Like, what are the odds?
I'm saying 75-25.
Ooh, I think that's a little bit too much.
I go 55-45.
Oh, wait, you were having a go at me for saying 50-50 and you were just going to have a 5% swing.
5% is a lot.
Oh my goodness.
5% is a lot. It's massive.
How big of an upset then would you see if Liquid do become the first team ever? Because this Fnatic roster has not lost a single best of 3. So if Liquid are the first team to ever take them down, how big of an upset is that?
I think it's good in some way because Fnatic should not be worried just because of the perspective and how the rest, you know, the wins that they already have and the little wins that they need to secure those playoffs. I think it would be fine for them, maybe a wake-up call in some aspects that they can improve. We always say that it's very good to have a taste of what defeat tastes like, just a little bit. I don't think that Team Liquid will be the worst opponent to lose to, you know?
I think if there would be a scale and Carmine Corp winning against Fnatic is 10 and Na'Vi winning against Fnatic is 1, I would say it's a 6 on that scale.
Oh, so slightly more than an upset. I'm more on the upset way.
Slightly more on the upset, yeah.
I mean, I will also say that I think Boaster and Mini have spoken in the past that in that Na'Vi matchup, they feel so comfortable is because they had to play Na'Vi like 5 bajillion times in a month. But these two teams haven't faced each other like before on these rosters and for a long time.
But they know each other. So it's just so weird. It's such a weird feel because I know that the first time that we're going to be looking at our screens, we're going to be like, listen, if somebody didn't tune in for the last year and they come back today and they look at this and they're like,
where's Scream?
Where's Mystic, man? Bring Mystic back.
I miss Magnum.
Yeah, I mean, I miss them all, but this is going to be a crazy game. I cannot wait to get into it, you guys. I feel like we waited all year for this. All through off-season, we were waiting for this one moment, and we are just about ready to get things started. Coliseum, Liquid fans, Fnatic fans, I want to hear the loudest cheer you can possibly give us as we bring out the players of our rivalry. It is Fnatic versus Team Liquid.
Team Liquid. Fnatic.
I can feel it in my blood, got my heart racing. Got the world in my sights and it's for the taking. We apply the pressure, diamonds in the making. Got the spirit, got the vision, yeah we groundbreaking. Now we trying to take the whole game and make it bigger. I can take the pain, cause I'm a born winner. Got the medal round my neck, watch my chain shimmer. Only ever seen a king looking in the mirror.
Oh, Chronicle and Redgar looking at each other from across the stage. Yeah. This is the first time since September 2022 that we've seen the Gambit boys on stage, and they're wearing different jerseys, Kakuka. My heart cannot take this. I want to know how Bala is doing. How he's feeling about this.
Yeah, completely. Bala, if you're watching, we love you. You can come as a guest, you know? Sideshow came to the pre-show. You can come anytime that you want. But no, everything is so important about this matchup for Fnatic. Is it going to be the first loss? They did lose a map here in EMEA. It's not a map, that we expect to see today. But for Team Liquid, we've seen the growth at the beginning of this split. We were thinking, is it going to be the letdown? Are they going to overcome everything? And right now, Safe is overcoming every single one of the expectations.
Yeah, we saw Kamek on stage there as well. We praise Vincent Fnatic for the fact that Kamek is not just like a bench warmer kind of player.
He deserves to be there.
They incorporate him in everything they do.
Yeah, I mean, some NA orgs could look at that, but most importantly, I think what is kind of crucial right here.
Cal Paolo.
Something that I find really crucial here is that from the players' faces, you see that they're all very calm and relaxed. They're all smiling. They're all really happy. It's not one of the super serious kind of matchups. And as we're heading into Asian Select, I'm kind of curious to see if changes have been made.
I feel like probably, but let's have a look.
Okay, so Leo's going to stay on that fade. Safe is going back to the Neon. Both are on the Astra, so no changes so far. Dirk is going to go on the Ray, something that we expected. That's on the Viper, and it looks like this is exactly...
Give it to Fnatic for just not changing.
I mean, so
the
that's the thing.
anti-Navi.
That's the thing. I think that for Fnatic preparing for this Lotus, no one, especially the staff that they have, has become 10 times easier now. Because if they don't swap anything, we need to wait to their end game to see if the not changing anything is going to affect.
But out of all of the maps we did see them play, and Vincent, especially in that grand final, this wasn't good. They didn't look that great on Lotus. It was worrying.
It was worrying, but I think the other factor that we need to then put into this is that even when we talk about Alpha not being here the entire time, so on and so on, is that they could still fine-tune things a little bit. And I think that it didn't look horrible. It didn't look miserable. It didn't look great. So with that being said, and also what you just mentioned about preparation, I think it is I'm leaning now a little bit more towards Fnatic. By 5 percentage points, I'm going to
The headband is back. It wasn't here last week.
Also, for Fnatic, they're going to be starting on the attack, as we see at the top of the screen. And, I remember that game against Lao. I do remember also the one against Navi, and they ended up with a 10-2 half just by starting on the attack. If they have mastered the composition, if they have learned from the mistakes that they made against Loud somewhere where they actually tasted that defeat that we were talking about, for Team Liquid not changing anything, it's kind of wild, to think that Team Liquid, this is the ground that they chose.
I do want to quickly mention the Raze versus Neon, because we've set up Durka versus Safe. How is this going to go, Vincent? What are you expecting?
I mean, particularly, I think for room taking, the Neon is a slight bit greater from time to time, and that's what I very much love about Safe. I'm just not quite sure if they're going to have that many head-to-head fights from start on.
Well, I cannot wait you guys to get into game and to throw this up to your casters for the series. It is your step bros, your favorite step bros, in fact, Tom and Dez.
So You're Dragon.
No, it's not sticking.
I'm
It's just
Nighthawk.
not sticking. It's not sticking. I don't want this to stick.
At this point, I feel it's got to be a full commit the whole way through. Welcome to what looks to be the game of the week, I think it's pretty fair to say, Tom.
Yeah, you
Big
know.
rivalry. You've heard the Des big it up for the last 10, 15 minutes. I think we're all pretty aligned on that front.
Yeah, and I think this is almost a matchup that legitimizes Liquid as a super team. Like that's what I'm looking at here. Is you have a team that
If
they came into lock-in, yeah, of course, or even do well. I would say that's enough for me. Like they came into lock-in, they kind of got blitzed by a team we expected them to beat. They reinvented themselves, came back in, got a couple of wins, a loss versus Vitality, but now they face the big guns, the heavy hitters, the team that we expect to be making it to Japan guaranteed, and Liquid, they want to be taking one of the spots alongside them. So we've got a million different storylines coming into this game, but that's the one for me that I'm focusing on. Are Liquid now the real deal, or are they about to be blitzed by Fnatic?
Yeah, and so many storylines like you were talking about backstage. I'm losing count at this point as well, and it was like, what is the big story here? And my summary really was, this isn't really a battle between these two teams, it's a war. There are just so many layers to it. School friends, ex-teammates, denying competitions from each other. You name it, it's got everything coming into it. So I'm with you, and the really exciting thing for me is if Liquid win this game, they match Fnatic's record. They're sat at 3-1. You look back to Team Liquid's lost game, they only lost by 3 rounds. It was pretty close. We could have been staring down at a 4-0 versus 4-0 here as well. Sorry, 3-0 versus 3-0 coming into this. So for me, it is really closely layered. It is a real fine margin of which Fnatic are ahead, but no one's ever going to pretend Fnatic still aren't ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're talking about a team who got eliminated from lock-in in the first round and the team who won it. Like you can't compare those teams.
You can't
in
really
reality.
put a bigger wedge in between the two than that, right?
And the thing is as well, there were a lot of unfair matchups going into lock-in. Like one of them was the fact that Fnatic had to play Sentinels straight off the bat, but they overcame that. They went through pretty much every single tough team we could name, whereas Liquid lost to Team Secret. So we're a very, very different point of these two rosters, but Liquid